Hello, everyone. I am Man of Interest, and today I am joined by three amazing guests as we do a little vendor round table. So, what is this round table? Well, I've invited these three wonderful guests who will soon introduce themselves because there's a lot we want to talk about the community, about just things in general, and I feel like these three as vendors have a very good perspective on certain things in the hobby that others do not, and I think it's going to be great to hear their perspective. So, without further ado, let's start off with my first guest. Krelbit, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Krelbit, run switchmod.net. Um, no, lube restock is not coming anytime soon. Too busy putting it on toast. And here to talk about keyboards.
Awesome. Let's go. Let's just go clockwise. Next up, we have Garrett of Dixie Mech. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Are we doing a thing where we answer a question that we know is going to be asked?
Good.
No, I cannot give you modern Dolce extras.
Nice.
No one wants mine.
I run Dixie Mech. That's about it. Yeah, he's got one. Ask him.
Mech Market 2.
Yeah,
It's a good
I'm gonna
set.
throw it on over to Heine.
Next up, we have Hineybush. How you doing today?
Good, man. Yeah, I'm Hineybush. I run hiney.cc/hineybush.com. You Google it. I do one group at a time because I don't care to do more than that.
Awesome. So we got some perspectives here, and the reason I have these in particular is we have a mix of vendors who just stock items, and vendors who run items, and vendors, all of them, who work with designers who are another facet of this hobby that we will also touch about, but they will from their point of view. So before this stream, I had a little document I shared with them that because there's a talking point I wanted to bring up, something that only they can really talk about, which is how the sausage is made, because a lot of people
I
wonder,
like that term.
how is the sausage
He's getting
made
hungry.
in this
I
community?
should have made sausage for that. There's some upstairs too. Let me get my PCB skillet out. Cook some sausage live on stream.
So, in terms of how the sausage is made, I'm talking about group buys, stocked product, from the idea of should I do this to actually shipping it out and receiving feedback from the customer, group buy person, whoever. So, let's start off with the first point, getting the inkling and idea of it. The sausage makers and their sausages. How do you choose what you're going to stock? How do you choose who you're going to work with? How do you choose these things from your point of view? Who wants to start?
I mean, I could kind of go maybe as an exception to this rule because I'm typically on the other side of it where people kind of approach me to do stuff. I don't necessarily work with others like to sell products for myself. I pretty much only sell stuff I design or I might have input from someone else on. But I've never really had anyone design stuff for me, if that makes sense. I'm kind of on the other side of that. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like if people approach me for like a commission or a design or a PCB, a case, whatever it would be, it's more like hey, can you help do this? I have an idea. I have like a Krelbit, you gave me a sketch on like a piece of paper. You're like,
Like
this
a
is what I want to do.
napkin.
Stuff like that, where it's I have the idea, but I don't necessarily have the means to go about making it like a real product, I guess. And that doesn't necessarily go for key sets because I outsource those. But as far as the idea side of it, yeah, it's more like people come in to me and give me the idea, and then I work with them to attain a final product. That's
Okay.
probably a good way to put it.
Yeah, I rarely approach people about, like, oh, they put out an interest check. Like, maybe I should approach them, see if they want to sell that. Usually people just contact me if they have the initiative, they take it already, and they just like DM me or something, going like, hey, I'm looking for a vendor for this or whatever. Like, can you run it? And this rarely works because I don't know. I since I represent sort of a younger side, I guess people that approach me are a bit younger. They have a bit less no,
Pull in the
like
community.
no, they just have generally less knowledge about what would actually
Anything.
fly. Yeah, like not only are they younger, like they're also like newer to the community, so like they throw out these like really outlandish ideas,
Fresher.
like glass stems or something, like
Not seasoned.
I think it'd be easy to cast glass stems, by the way.
Oh yeah. But
And
yeah,
blown.
usually people approach me or like a friend approaches me and goes like, "Hey, I got something you might be interested in," and then I'm like, "Okay, so let me hear more about this." And then if they can't follow up on that, I usually drop them. If they can follow up on that, then it's all right. The only exception to this was the Cat Wee Wee Springs, in which case people were like, "Elaine sells good springs." When I was like, where can I get some decent springs? And so I
That's
just
not
hit up
necessarily your
Elaine
fault,
and I
though.
was like, I was just like, okay, you got any springs that? And she's like, yeah. And then we went off from there. Group buy wise, that's how it works. But when I'm stocking products, it's just whatever I think the market might need at the moment, or like there's a hole there at the moment.
What was that thing you described to me? The economic principle where it was like, if you're the first one in the market, regardless of if there's going to be competitors, you typically have the advantage.
That's the first choice advantage.
Yeah,
So that's usually what I profit off of.
kind of just fill the holes that are there.
Yeah.
They trust you more because you were the first.
So
Not necessarily. It's just that there's no other options for the moment. With lube, it was kind of like that, in which there were options, but I was able to provide a better one. You know, like
Yeah.
vendors liked it because they didn't have to wait 8 months and then like inconsistently get stock, and then it was just easier to use. So you know, your average user liked that too, and it was cheaper, so everyone liked that.
mhm. How about you, Garrett? How do you choose who you're working with? Is it also kind of like with Krelbit where people approach you typically, or do you ever reach out and be like, "Hey, I like that interest check. Have you found a vendor yet?"
I do a little bit of everything that they just talked about. So I have people every day pitch me ideas, and I have to either on the spot. Usually, you can tell if it's going to be successful or not. Usually, there's not any in between. It's usually like this is going to be good, this is not. So, but then there are some that when I see them, I'm like, I know this one's going to be good. I want it. That's, I mean, I'm like, I know I can do this set what it deserves, is kind of what I think. So I do a little bit of both.
Mhm.
And then I also like doing my own stuff, which I haven't had much time up to this point because I was just slammed full of everybody else's stuff. So I'm just now getting around to being able to finally run some of my own stuff that's just been sitting for a year, waiting for a spot to open.
So I know you just mentioned that, sometimes, like right away if you're going to love it and it's going to work, or sometimes you're like, well, this probably won't go. How do you compare a good versus bad design and a good versus bad designer when working with so many, because people come to you and they have all these crazy ideas and you're the one who has to sort through them?
I think it's hard to put a straight equation on good or bad.
Yeah.
Because there's so many options when it comes to color, which is basically what we're talking about.
Sets.
At least
Yeah.
key set. But as far as presentation goes into it, is huge. Like if they have an interest check that you can tell they spent hours and hours setting up the
Definitely.
designs and the brand and the graphics, you're like, this person knows what they're doing. They're prepared. They care about this. According to someone else that just puts a KLE screenshot. And
now it's a
What's
keyboard
that?
renders.
Yeah, now it's
Or
keyboard
keyboard
renders now.
Yeah, it's
That's-
KB renders.
Yeah,
now it's just
if you
the.
have
I've
a
had some
KLE,
gripes
you're
about
really
this.
slacking.
I've had some gripes about that.
I have a DSA set, so I got to use the Heroku app. Ooh.
Yeah, man, like that initial like, is it good or is it bad, or more like I guess does it have potential to be good?
It's like sitting on Shark Tank, dude.
It's not necessarily like, do you like it? You know, do I like it? Like, does Garrett himself like it? Does Krelbit himself like it? It's more like, do you think it's gonna hit the MOQ? Like, do you think 250 people are gonna like it enough to buy it? If it's a custom color GMK set, for example, do you think if it's a case, 35 or 50 people like it in order to get?
I think with cases, I think with cases you kind of have to like see what else is on the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to have 4, 65s running at the same time.
Well, you can. It's just that if they're different enough. Yeah. But the problem is, like, many people will just, watch a Quantric video or stream and like, and like everything then looks the same.
Yeah, if people like, necessarily like, oh, I missed out on Jane V2, I'll make my own. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't expect to get 50 or 60 people to also want it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been more common where you've seen lower quantity stuff going, even private buys, like 10,
private
15,
buys
20. We can talk about that later, but where people they're okay with spending $500 or $600 if they need to, or $850. But yeah, it's like it's definitely a weird kind of market thing.
I think that's where like your knowledge of the market from your experience of being there for years
definitely
really comes into play for you knowing if it's need or not.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily stuff that you would have ran yourself. You can just kind of if you're in the community, if you go on Geekcat, go on Reddit, you can see oh yeah, that's a good idea, but this other one here is very similar and it didn't hit MOQ. Let's learn from that and try to improve.
That might be more important, because if someone comes in last month, they're a really good designer, all they're going to be able to find are the key sets that ran and succeeded. At this moment, you're never going to be able to find all the ones that failed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to be possible. We all saw them fail, so we know what didn't work. So it's kind of in the back of your mind.
I was pretty critical about the GMK SNES set.
Oh yeah,
DMG. At first, when I saw it, I was like, "It's a really cool set. I like it." But it really reminded me of the old SNES one that ran
and failed.
Yeah, that one bombed.
I think that failed partially because it was like one of the first GMK interest checks,
really,
and everyone was like a little skeptical.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I used that as like the first thing I said on the topic. I was like, I really like this. But it's really similar to SNES. I don't necessarily think it would have the same fate, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Something along those lines. And I actually ended up really liking it, looking at it again lately. But I posted in the thread again in Future Crime. The designer was like, "You said this wasn't that great because it was like SNES." I was like, "You caught me, but I changed my mind." So I mean, even then, it's like you could be surprised. Like I'm surprised that like Dixie, like the sets you've been hitting, or hitting 500 no problem.
Easy 500s.
I mean, minimal like
Mizu, I didn't necessarily think was super great.
Minimal being so minimal, it was kind of, we knew we were gonna hit MOQ. I mean, it's 150, but like literally the preparation for that set was like 2 or 3 weeks. Like when you launch an interest check, if you launch the group buy in 2 weeks, it's most likely gonna fail. Like
that's just how it is.
We sold 700 of them. Like I don't know how that happened. But
same with like the Contra front when I did cartel stuff. We sold like 700 of those. I was like, how?
I haven't had any overwhelming successes. I'm gonna be honest. Everything's either scraped by, or was a Whatster, right?
Look at like your situation with the lube you just had though. Like you were like, oh, I didn't expect to have this many orders in like a span of a week.
That's a thing, right? But
same kind of idea, I think.
Trivis's 3203 was actually wasn't a failure, I'd say. I was on Nathan Kibb's Sumathon, and
I missed that sadly.
Dixie was talking about GMK 9009 ortho, was it?
Yeah,
I had the same situation there. Where
I think is a question later in our document.
Yeah, I paid. I funded maybe 3/5 of that by myself, and then I did not sell out of that until a year later. Like it took a whole year to go through the rest of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically not even, because I found like 2 kilos while cleaning out. Whoops.
So,
But yeah,
it's-
I'm not even sold out of that.
Yeah.
That's
You'll get there. You'll get there.
no,
So-
I've already broken even, so I'm like, whatever's on it now, you know. But until then, it was just like this big glaring loss for like 8-9 months, and I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
this is, and now it's popular because it's out.
Yeah.
You guys are
exactly,
fickle.
yeah.
You guys are so. You guys are so fickle. You
We
guys.
It's just like
We know.
spend
See-
the money and time to if it's an untested lube, it's gonna take time, and you're gonna have to get reviews on it, which is tough, especially
the
when
market
key
penetration.
is that you act like you only list a third of your stock. It goes out of you're out of stock. Everyone wants it. Then you list the second 2/3.
That's
That's not
that's
bad idea.
that's also a really big issue because that's what's happening with lube. There's a lube drought, so to say.
Yes.
That's what
we need to
that's what
lubricate the
that-
market a little bit.
that's what God. That's what the market's calling it, right?
Yep.
When I'm in between, batch shipments and productions of lube, there's a lube drought. And what happens when it goes back in stock is that people are like, "Oh, there's going to be another lube drought," and they buy more lube than they normally would,
And then it goes out of
causing
stock.
the next lube drought.
It's a cycle. It's a cycle.
And then I'm on lube drought again, and people are like emailing me 20 times a day, going like, "When's restock?"
When?
And I'm like, "Bud."
People are okay with waiting 2 to 6 to 14 months for a group buy, but they're gonna nag you the whole goddamn time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some dude ordered a slate extra. I'm pretty sure 3 hours later, hey, I haven't gotten shipping yet. I was like, yeah, it's 3 a.m. I'm not.
At 11.
I was like, yeah, like, I printed your label. I have it packed, but I'm not going to the post office at 4 a.m. Like, it'll get there when it gets there.
Gosh.
Yeah. So something that Garrett, you talked about was like, sometimes for interest check, if it's going to run 2 weeks after, it's just not going to make it, right?
Mhm.
You
It
mentioned that.
depends. It's tough.
And it does. It
Yeah.
depends. It is tough, and that's why I want to bring this next point. I know you guys kind of liked it when we talked about it in prep for the stream, which is interest checks. Are they better as a marketing tool or a feedback mechanism?
It kind of depends.
I'd say today, at this very moment, as a marketing mechanism.
Yeah. At this point where I am, after having done however many group buys I've done, I don't think me, along with whoever's designing, that we need the feedback.
I would
I've gotten the
say
exact
earlier.
Same
It's to the
feedback
point
8
where it's
times.
refined enough.
hmm
Yeah, it might be like a matter of, oh, it's a GMK said, hey, could you consider adding, like this key, that key, something like that, or hey, you missed this,
That's how it used to be, though.
That yeah.
Like
But it's
That's
not
how
so
it
much,
used to
hey,
be.
You need to rehaul like over
2 years
Only-
ago.
Like
Yeah.
I've run the same questions in every interest check.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
at this point, I've perfectly fine tuned the kit that I should have to where this one's sold better than this one. So let's kind of start going towards this side.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
at this point I'm there.
Like it used to be like questions about the kit, questions about novelties and sets and like stuff like that for key sets.
Now
It's
it's
like,
like,
why,
hey,
now
if
it's
set's
like-
blue. Why would you need a different key than if it's white?
Yeah, now
Like,
it's like
it's the same keys.
yeah. Now it's like everybody knows what will sell, depending on last group buys or previous group buys or like what's working at the moment currently. Even everyone's just like it's in the collective mind that this is the set that you'll sell, and that's what's gonna make MOQ. So people don't really go into interest checks for feedback anymore. They just kind
it's
of
funny when people offer feedback and you're like not really looking for it.
Yeah.
like no one's
Hey,
really
Sorry, I'm not gonna redesign this case.
yeah
Yeah. It's.
I feel
it's-
like at this point, all the interest checks that are really, really well laid out
hmm
already have everything thought out.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that aren't looking for feedback usually end up becoming the most successful because they've already sat there for hours researching and thinking about it. The people who
Mhm.
just
Those
throw
ones
something
typically-
randomly up and say, "All you people in the comments do all the work for me."
Mm-hmm.
So
There's-
And a lot of the ones that are like
Yeah.
really tone or figure it out ahead of time, they typically have a much higher kind of production value, presentation.
So I want to
better
touch
way
up on
just
that real
getting
quick
hype.
because I think we can all agree, right? For example, let's take a key set instead of a keyboard, for example, right? A
Sure.
good key set interest check will have professionally done renders. But wait, that costs money to have renders. That means you already have to be committed enough to spend the money for those renders,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
means you've already solicited all the feedback you needed to get to the point where you're willing to spend your own money or your vendor's own money or their money to get these renders, right? Like, but
you
then
have to
look
make
at it
sure
this
you
that's
way.
what makes it a
cover
good interest check at the same time.
And look at
I
it
think
this
it
way:
shows
most
that
of the
they're committed.
people doing renders also design keycap sets.
And they'll give
Like
you
if you
feedback.
if you've noticed that, like Janglad does renders,
Oblotsky,
Zambomon.
Oblotsky, Zombomon, they already so getting the render done by them and pitching that towards them
Hineybush.
already kind of gets another layer of screening because these guys are pros. They've made a lot
They'll
of
tell
keycaps.
you what's wrong.
They'll
You'll
tell
notice
you
in
what's wrong.
every single group buy, they will say thanks to Janglad for the renders, and then they will also say
Yep.
whoever did the renders also thank you for feedback
Yeah.
because
By the
they
way,
did the
guys,
renders
I'm
and they're
tossing
like,
questions that I'm seeing in the chat into our like Discord chat.
So if you guys have questions, save it for when we get to our talking point 2, the state of the hobby, because that's going to be a very open-ended one. I know you guys have questions regarding this, but trust me, save them for part 2 when we can touch on all of that. We will get there soon enough.
Yeah, I mean, even as far as like payment for renders go, like for example, for Janglad, I had him do some slate renders for me, and instead of like me, sending him money on PayPal, he was like, "You just want to send me the keycap set?" Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it kind of works out. It's a good trade. I mean, if the person doing renders is like, "Hey, I like this," like a Blotsky, even like on the OG Space Keys. Which
Even
is
then,
live
though,
right
that
now.
still does cost money.
Oh yeah.
But it's not immediate.
It costs time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It was that was more of a like, hey, I can run the European kind of proxy for this. I'll do like a quick render for you, and it worked out pretty well. It's more like a partnership. I look at it more than
Definitely.
paying. And at this point, a lot of people that are doing this sort of thing are already like buddies and friends in the community, and have had conversation and discourse before. So it's not like you're just approaching someone to do it. And
Even just going to like a single meetup and meeting people as like a beginning vendor, like when I
That's so
started,
useful.
That's that networking
I
right
am
there.
Because people will think, oh, they're a good guy.
yeah, I immediately I went to Seattle in 2017. That was the only meetup that I've like flown out for, right? And that's a bit hard as a student to do, even because that's money. I talked to just people, I talked to a lot of people, and some of them are now vendors. Like Mike had just started. I remember
He's fresh.
Mike had just started, just like me. We had just started. We started around the same time. Even he's so much bigger than me. Rip. What have I done?
He's also not in college.
Yeah. But either way, we talked. Like we got to, we just got, because up until that point we had only been, like talking through Discord. And when you like put a face to that and you talk to that, I feel like making that connection, that like networking, really helps.
Definitely.
Even people that I'm like not even like totally in their market, like artisans, for example. I have a lot of friends that are artisans, and I'm not really into them, right? But because I went to the Seattle meetup and I talked with Binge, and we like kind of hit it off, and we kind of started a partnership there. That's the reason that Grade Zero Lube exists, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just gotta get out there, network.
I mean,
I'm doing a terrible
that's
job.
why I work with the same people kind of in everything I do.
Mhm.
If it's the same area, like Jan does all my renders.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we've done so many things together. We don't even have to say anything. It's just like, hey, GMK Mizu.
He's like, yeah, I got you.
We
20
know
minutes
what's
later,
gonna
you got
happen.
an album.
We don't need hours of discussing and making plans. It's done. And the same thing that Krelbit just said. I don't know if I would exist if it wasn't for Jan, because he's the one that asked me to do 9009. when I had never done anything. So, and I tried to pay it back by letting him, or trying to help him out with renders and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I
even as
just
far
tried-
as like, giving input on, hey, like, this legend could be a little better. That could, this could, be moved, adjusted. Like even insight like that, helps both of you out. Because it makes your product look more realistic, I guess, and it helps him refine his, end product.
Yeah, I throw off everything I do. I know that my eye is not perfect in everything. Obviously, when I'm doing it, I think it looks awesome. But I'm like, I need to throw this onto somebody else that hasn't been sitting and staring at this for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And they're immediately going to notice something that's wrong.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's good to like just toss this stuff in even just like different Discord channels.
Even today,
Just be
yeah.
Like, hey,
Mhm.
like a super
Just toss it
informal
out.
interest check kind of thing. It's just like, hey, what do you guys think of this? Fresh eyes.
That's
on
like the
it.
real interest check these days, right?
Yeah.
To throw it
Just
onto
trying to hype it
Discord
up.
kind of thing.
That way, before you put in the next 30 hours, if they're like, oh, this is trash, you're like, ooh, okay.
I remember
So-
the first thing I did in the keyboard world ever was like after I kind of learned stuff. I was like, oh, 40% are so cool. I'm gonna go on keyboardlayouteditor.com and like, oh, I'm gonna try to make a 40% board that would work with like a blank ePBT set or something. And I posted it in, and the first thing anyone said to me about it was Krelbit, and he just replied and said, "This gives me cancer."
In,
I was like,
interest
where you are now.
checked.
I was like, all right, I'm going up. I'm going to 1800s.
Look where you are now.
Exactly.
So
Not designing 40s.
So we touched on different designs. We touched on how you guys work with different designers and different people in the community. Essentially, as vendors, you guys have worked with the sausage makers and what sausages you want to which of their sausages you want to bring to markets. Next up, preparing the sausage ingredients. You know who you're going to work with now. You know what key set, keyboard, lube it may be you're going to bring in the market. What's the next step as a vendor? How do you handle marketing, the actual group buy page, whether it's on, Geek Hack, on Reddit where you keep updating it, on Keep Talk, anywhere, and, how do you handle for keyboards like prototypes or for key sets, color samples?
It's tough.
Let's start with marketing.
It's just
How do you
it's a social-
market
it's
how do
a
you
social
market
media
something?
game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, for what I do, kind of primarily cases. I've done a key set. I'm going to do another one, but it's more just like try to get renders done that look good. Not necessarily photorealistic, but that give a good idea of the shape of the board, of what you're working with. Any kind of interesting kind of things you're doing, and get that out. And I just kind of spam stuff. I don't necessarily think I'm very good at doing the marketing side, honestly. Just because like I just try to post stuff in as many different Discords that I'm in and just be like, hey, check this out. And then just putting the Geek Hack post up obviously is key. I think Geek Hack is probably the best tool as far as chronological kind of stuff goes, because with Reddit, stuff's lost within
It's gone in 15
8
minutes.
hours. Yeah, 8
It's
hours.
like, it's like the
The
Instagram of
most
keyboards.
you can have is like a day.
If you get to the top
Yeah.
20 so posts on RMK, then it'll get a lot of views. Otherwise, yeah, you're not going to get much. Like Geek Hack is very, very good for it. And then just posting on Discord, really, as far as I know, I think that's the best. Reddit's good, obviously, but that's like so hit or miss because Mech Market you can post once every 2 days. Mech Market's not as bad.
Mech Market's actually not bad.
Mech
No.
Market's not bad at all. It's more RMK. It's like if you don't, if you don't do it the right time and you don't get, the initial
X upvotes.
exactly, no one's gonna see
It's
it.
all up to the first 10 people that see it.
Yeah.
You do a lot
Which
more of
is-
that, Dixie.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I didn't have a marketing degree or anything. I'm in design, which a lot of people think is the same thing,
Oh no.
but I wasn't taught how to market. I was just told what to make to give to the person who's going to post it. I just made what it looked like. So I've been figuring it out as I go. I think at this point, I'm somewhat figuring it out. Like I have some stuff that's shown me what's worked, what's not worked. So you slowly refining it every single time you do it. But yeah, Geek Hack and Instagram for me.
Instagram.
I don't really
need to
use
get more
Reddit
on
that much.
Yeah, Instagram is really big.
Mm-hmm.
Like Instagram's the way to go. Like
You can make posts every day and people accept that.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
do stories
During
I
a
mean,
run of a group buy, you could make a post every single day with a different render or a different, slightly different angle or something even. And
The
and it-
benefit between that versus Reddit is
that's accepted.
see everything on Instagram as you scroll
Yeah.
through.
You do
You're
that
gonna
on Reddit,
all the way
right?
down.
You
Yeah.
post every single day on Reddit.
They're gonna hate you.
They hate you.
Mm.
You're donut
It's-
cat now. You know, like
the reason Geek Hack is so nice is like Heine said. Every single time someone comments, he goes back to the top.
Yep.
So
You,
you're not
you
going
can
to get
bump
buried.
stuff too, like with updates. You can just be like, hey, by the way, this is gonna start in a couple months or whatever it might be.
Things
Yeah, if you
stay
see
relevant.
if you see your post, creeping down the first page, and you have like an update bomb to toss at it, you do it, and then the hype is back for another, like, you feed that fire for a bit longer, and
I
then
purposely space them out.
yeah, and then you take that time to go work on new stuff.
Like I could technically have the entire group buy ready right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to give you everything when I post it.
Oh, you're such a
I'm going to
tease.
give you something at the beginning, and then the next week I'm going to post another thing to get more
Mhm.
people talking about it. And then when that starts dying, then I'll post the desk mat design to get people talking about that.
Yeah, you just gotta feed the fire. Like if you throw all your fuel at it right away, it's
Yeah.
it's
You
gone.
don't want to use all your hype ammo, as I call
Yeah.
it, all in one go. You want to space it out.
Mm-hmm.
Which I try to I have started doing actual product pages on my website.
I've seen that stuff. That's
Yeah.
sick.
buying
Those are amazing.
domain names for the key
Yeah,
sets.
I love what you've been doing with that.
So like it's really hard when you're like, what's the link for the Mizu interest check? Well, it's
Oh, yeah.
geekpack/1567883. It's like no one's gonna know that. So I just bought-
GMKmuzu.com.
Yeah, I just bought the domain.
It's
Links to
nice,
every
but,
proxy.
I mean, you can have it.
Yeah.
You can have it expire after a year. You
This
don't have to
is
keep
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna
also the perfect segue into the next point, which is setting up group buy pages, product pages, and displaying
Shipping
information.
orders,
What's the difference between a good product / group buy page and like a bad one? I actually want to start with you, Krelbit, because
You're such
for the
a
longest
machine.
time you had a very simple page, and then you made one of the biggest updates. You
your
gave
new site's really nice.
numerical stats for your lubes.
I just put like
And
okay.
people
Made some stuff up.
crazy. People were like, "Oh my god,
I didn't even-
this makes so much sense."
I didn't even
now.
make stuff up. I just kind of, of a relative scale, I just kind of threw it on there, and I was like, oh, okay, this will just help people like not ask me questions, right? That was the whole point, was that people were asking like, oh, what's a good thin lube? And I'm like, I've got a thin lube on my page.
Yeah,
And
what
they're
should I
like-
use for tactiles?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, let me make this visual, because the audience responds to visual stimuli, right?
Yeah.
So I just drew like some semi BS bars with like relative. I didn't put any numbers on there, because you put numbers on. I can't rank a
Oh, this
lube.
lube has a farther to
It's
the
a
right bar.
7 out of 10
Yeah.
viscosity.
Yeah, like, so I threw that on there, and apparently it was popular enough to like rank by taste.
Yeah.
Um,
So would you say overall that was like a very successful way to improve the pages?
it was a good way. I have a switch top remover. I'm playing with it. But it was a
I have
good
a
way to
USB
get
thing.
people to stop asking me questions, but also to kind of like be able to somewhat compare the lubes side by side, like without buying them,
Yeah.
was really helpful, because otherwise they'd go off and they'd ask other people, and other people at
Everyone
the
has a
time
different
maybe
opinion.
yeah,
Yeah,
everyone's
they
got a
can
different
make their own
opinion.
decision.
So if I give my objective opinion, which like, safe to say I've got quite a bit more experience, right,
Mhm.
than most in the lube world.
Mhm,
Well,
for sure.
in
For
in
sure.
Krytox grade 0 world. I haven't tried the crystal stuff yet, but then they'll take it mostly as fact, which I'm okay with, because I think I gave fair representations of everything. And yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. It helped. Yeah, for sure.
So, Garrett, I'm gonna talk about your buys, your pages in a second, because they're amazing. But real quick, Hineybush, you work with a lot of people to design a lot of things, and of course, usually they go on other group buy pages other
Yeah.
product pages you don't control.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any good or bad examples you'd like to point out of like, I designed this, you're representing this in an amazing way, or you're kind of not representing it as good as it should be? Because sometimes
both ways. I mean,
yeah,
at the end of the day, like if I'm paid to do a design commission and someone else markets it poorly and it sells poorly, that's not my fault.
You got paid.
If what I make or if what I design is what the person that's selling it wants to sell, and it doesn't do well, like I don't necessarily put that on myself unless it's like a technical problem or an issue that like would literally be my fault. Like say, people get PCBs and like 80 people are like, hey, my PCB doesn't work. That's obviously my fault. But if someone goes and designs a board that like uses my PCB, for example, and the board doesn't sell well, or there's issues with the board that are outside of like literally my control, like which is only the
PCB doesn't fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I make my step files available for people to design a board using my PCB. And if for some reason, say, they sell 40 units or something and the PCB doesn't fit, that's not my fault because I didn't design the case. I mean, I do kind of have I guess some kind of like attachment to like stuff that does use my products, like the Kepler, for example. I know they had some issues with some of the PCBs with that, and I've been like really invested time wise and brain capacity wise to like kind of help them out and figure it out. I'm not a member of Project Keyboard. I didn't know that's what they wanted to do with my PCBs when they ordered like 50 of them. But yeah, so I was just kind of like it sucks, but like I want that to be as successful as it can be because my name is attached to it. Even if I don't
when people are building that board, they're gonna see your name.
Exactly.
Right
and then they're
there.
gonna reach out to me and be like, help. And I'm like,
Yeah. So if every single board doesn't work, they're gonna be like, oh, that's who it
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
That's scary.
The round
Yeah.
2 one is fixed with the small problem, and I gave them a lot of suggestions and a lot of input to kind of make the process go a lot smoother, i.e. testing every PCB before they send it out to anyone, especially if it's going to be on stream, things like that, just to make their lives easier.
I think it just shows that you care about what you've designed.
Which
You're not
is
just
I definitely do.
getting
Like
it to
pretty
scam
much
people out of money. I don't
every
get
single
you bought it,
thing.
whatever you figured out.
Yeah, like every single thing that I've designed because I want it. And it just so happens that it's cool enough and people also want it that aren't me. Like I've had my HBCP sitting here since December of last year. I'm just now finally doing the group buy this summer, but either way, and Straight Classy, to my knowledge, it was not tested in the exact configuration that it would be built in, so that's incorrect. But that's different. That's not my
different.
problem. Message me on Discord and I'll put you to sleep. But that's okay. But yeah, like I said, like, everything I've designed, I've wanted myself. Like I started with the G80 1800 PCB that's sitting in this keyboard right here. I was like, oh, I love that layout. I hate the fact I can't program it. I'll make it. And now I'm to like, H87A was probably the first one that wasn't, because Invisibility wanted me to do that for like a private TKL buy, and it just turned into what it is. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I use it on my TKLs, obviously.
And that's
yeah.
that's good. Having your products, caring how your products represent you, because I mean, I want those PCBs to do well. That's really good. So, last certainly not least, Garrett, Dixie Mech has gone through a lot on how your product pages used to be when you first started out, only basically selling stickers and small knickknacks here and there, essentially, to having gmkmuzu.com direct you to a whole scrollable page dedicated to this key set. So, I mean, if you could somehow really quickly walk us through, like, how you got from that point A when you started to now. Because that's, I think, one of the biggest...
They're not even where I want them to be.
Yeah, that's like, I think it's one of the biggest jumps in any kind of product page in our community right now, from then to here. And if this isn't where you want to be, I also want to hear where you want to be as well.
Yeah, I guess as I go, every single group I hear people say, I wish this would have been this way. or I'll be like, this question was asked a ton. So I'll always have that in the back of my mind. So then the next one, I'm like, well, this question was asked a ton during the group buy. Why don't I just go ahead and put it here to start? So that slowly kept happening and happening to the point where I was like, why don't I just put all of this information in a simple graphical way that you don't even have to read anything? That's one thing I did learn. People don't read words.
Right.
You put it in words,
Right.
there. You have to put it in a graphic with a bar and a pretty color over a moving background. So like I would have paragraphs of stuff and people would ask me these questions and I was like, the answer was right there under the add to cart button.
Yeah, but I didn't read it.
So I'm like, when you want to buy something, what do you want to know? Okay, you want to know what it is, logo at the top. You want to know what it looks like, nice cool little render at the top. You want to know when you can buy it with the dates there. You want to know what status it's in, possibly after the group buys ended. I can still go back to that page. I can see it. Instead of having to ask me or ask somebody, you can just go there anytime you want to get an update. See how many sets we've sold, and then you can get as many renders as you want. I put every render on there, and then after the group buys happen, that's another reason why I wanted to make them, is because I think it's very valuable to be able to look back on past group buys. Because all the time you'll be like, how many sets did that one sell? Because people are just interested to know, how
Once
is
again,
Stryker
around
doing?
2, even.
Yeah, how's Stryker doing compared to Oblique? Because I'm just wondering, I wonder how. If you can just type in the set, oh, it sold this many. This is how many extras were bought. So, I mean, I always think having a log of a history of stuff is always a really good idea. So
Yeah,
That's really
started
cool. That's a
making
good concept.
Yeah, that's a great
pages
concept.
for every single set I've made. I'm right now currently making them for all my past pages. So all my past key sets, you'll be able to see all the renders, and then once they're complete, I'll post all the best pictures that customers have posted.
I want to try
So
to do something similar to that with my stuff.
Yeah. And as a designer, I never stop. I'm like, oh, this has got to be better. I want to do this. I want to do this. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, no, I want more. Yeah, so
you're gonna go to bed being like, damn, I need to change that, and then you get out.
I would
I've
close my
done that.
computer, I go lay down, I'd be like, I want to forget about this in the morning, and I'll get back up and I'll go do it till 1 a.m. until I finish. But like I'm trying to get even more visually interesting. So right now, like I have a cool little semi-turned render of an M60 with a key set on it. Well, what I really, really want to do is that when you scroll, that board starts spinning or moving. So like on my Bower page, I want the when you're at the top, you see the top of the Bower, but as you scroll, it flips it over so that you can see the entire board. I just want some cool interactive stuff. So I got a bunch of stuff written down as far as interactive and just making things very easy to access. And it all stems to people just asking you questions 10 times a day.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If I can have those answers already available, it saves a ton of time.
One of my favorite things to do is if I'm like a group buy, like on Geek Hack, for example, an interest tech or a group buy thread, and someone asks a question that's answered like in the OP or in one of my other replies, I just quote my original one as I reply, as I quote like their question. I'm like, it's in the OP. Just read.
Hey,
I don't know. I mean,
reading
that
is hard.
doesn't work.
Reading
Reading
is
is
hard.
so hard,
It could be
dude.
I
dickish,
literally-
but I don't care.
I know Heine's in my Discord, but I literally set up a bot in my Discord that gives answers to questions if people type them in.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
Oh
So if
god.
people
I
say
love
anything
that.
about Modern Dolch, it pops up. You can get the extras here. If the word extras is mentioned, it tells them how to sign up. If they ask
I
about
think that's the
Bower,
coolest
it tells
thing.
because that saved me. It's not even technically the 15 seconds it takes me to answer, but it's whatever I was doing when they asked, I stopped.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
having to
it's
get
kinda
back
nice.
into the groove that I was in ends up taking more time than if I could have just kept going.
I've got to get on that because
Yeah,
people
same.
ask me all the time, like, "What lube do I put on?"
Yeah.
And I'm
Say
like,
if you're not technically
Okay.
there to answer the question right away, someone else could answer it, and it might not be the absolute correct answer
Yeah.
that you would reply with,
Mhm.
and that kind of spreads, misinformation.
I saw that happen the other day on some person that was trying to flip some Modern Dolch key sets for like $300 each.
Oh baby.
Someone posted on there. I mean, they were trying to do a service by saying extras will be on sale for this price. Don't buy this, guys.
Okay.
But they put a price that was way wrong.
Yeah.
And like they said it definite, like this will be the price. And I was like,
Bud.
you tried, but
Tried. So with making product pages, working on marketing, I think one of the key things that comes last in this phase really is if you're Hiney getting a prototype, or maybe if you're Dixie getting a color sample. How do you guys handle getting those and relaying that information? Because sometimes a sample could be good and you want to share it, and sometimes it's like totally bad and it's going to throw you back a couple weeks. How do you handle the good and the bad in that regard?
Communication is very important.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all
DMG,
going to say the same thing.
yeah, GMK DMG is a great example of that. Future's had, I think, 2 samples done, and both times he's been like, these aren't what I want. I'm getting new ones. It's going to take about 2 or 3 weeks. And people are like, okay, thanks. Like, that's fine. What's the saying? Someone said it's like a delayed product is eventually good, but a rushed product is always bad or forever bad, or a statement kind of like that, where it's like, if you take the time and the energy and the effort and the money to make sure the product is the product that you want to sell, then it'll be fine. If you rush it, if you hide issues, hide problems, if you don't communicate things, people are going to find out on their own and they're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very easy to fall down into that hole, I feel, if you aren't honest from the start.
Yeah, so just be open.
Yeah.
I've seen group
Communication
buys
is
that have gone
key.
over a year that people were still very optimistic in posting, oh, it's fine, I'm ready when it's there. And then there will be people that the product's only been delayed 2 months, but they haven't said anything for 2 months, and there's an outrage.
Right.
So
it's like where'd they go? They disappeared, blah, blah, blah.
when a lot of these group buys are run through just people and not even vendors, it's even more scary because they're like, is this person ever going to come back?
Yeah.
Like,
They just Ivan us.
We got Ivan, guys.
They don't necessarily have the experience or the I guess not the knowledge, but they can't necessarily handle the fact that what they're doing isn't how they want it to be. So they kind of get like the hole of lies or excuses. Yeah,
I think you got to be kind of confident and not let yourself get too caught up in people being upset.
Definitely.
I understand that people are like, oh, there's like 50 people yelling at me. I got to get this done. This is fine. But you got to get over that and just put your foot down and be like, this isn't fine.
Yeah.
We're going to make this right.
And if it's your problem, exactly. Like, look at the Espetero that Dave from Mechy CA did, where the factory like ghosted him. That was like really, really messed up because like he posted and was like, guys, I haven't heard anything in 5 months. I've paid them this and that. Like he got someone, like I contacted his or something in China to like go to the factory, find like the foreman or the manager or whatever, be like, what the hell's going on? He learned what was going on, and I guess stuff got back on track, and now people are getting them. I don't know if that's the whole story, but that's the story that he put publicly, which is fine. I mean, it's better than nothing, but at the same time, that maybe could have been avoided. But I'm not gonna like criticize him and say.
I think he handled it well.
Yeah, he
from
did.
my
He definitely
perspective.
did. Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's crazy that people were less pissed when they had waited like 8 months and literally heard nothing, just because he was honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That honesty is the best policy, especially when you're dealing with people's money, because people don't like to be out, $400 or more. It can be really bad because you can literally end up getting sued. If you're within the 6 months of the PayPal stuff, you can get chargebacks, which is not good for you because PayPal's going to look at your business PayPal account and say, hey, look, why do you have 25 chargebacks? We're going to freeze your account. You're not going to be able to use it. It's a very real problem. Yeah. It could be pretty bad. Yeah.
Remember our first group buy?
The meme? Well, that
went actually that went fairly well for a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, the best part about the meme was that it was a private buy Huey you were in on.
Yes, exactly.
The worst part about it was that the manufacturer was absolutely garbage. I don't know if anyone watching or if any of you guys watch Nathan Kim's stream, but Like I like to send his to him. I had to. Well, all right. So first off, every single meme, none of them had any holes threaded. I had to buy taps. Krelbit had to buy taps. I had to tap every hole myself. A couple of them broke off. Luckily, there's only 10. Like I think I had maybe one.
I put an album in the chat with just complaints about everything.
Yeah, like
I took pictures. There's like 100 pictures there, and they're all mind-bogglingly bad.
Some of them fit pretty nicely. Some of them just also fit poorly. Like yours fit pretty well, I think.
Mine was dirty though.
Yeah, like but all the plates, none of the plates fit in. I had to Dremel all the corners on all the plates to make them fit. I had to Dremel half.
We salvaged that thing.
Yeah, I spent probably a month going through the cases, making everything fit. We broke a tap off. I broke a tap off.
My head on fire trying to figure out money.
Yeah,
because
it was.
I sent this complaints album to them. We got the entire thing refunded because the factory was just like.
I can't believe y'all got it refunded.
Well, no, it's because I paid through PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
And you can
I have this album of 200 complaint pictures. I'm gonna get that charge back.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it ended up working out all right. It sucked.
Yeah. Then I just took the last.
It was just.
You took the last. I think we refunded everyone like 70% of their purchase.
Yeah, those are
and then we took that. We took that remaining money to like PCB, buy taps and pay the PCB and pay Hiney and like a good amount of just like fixing money, I guess, and then shipping.
I think if we maybe got a proto.
Yeah, that would have helped. But the thing is,
at the same time, it's like
protos, everyone.
We were like,
the thing is, that was supposed to be the proto route.
Yeah. We were like, let's do 10. It's cheaper per person.
It was 10.
And thought to do it. Yeah. HPCP is actually made by those same people. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great advertisement.
No, it's being made by a very high-profile keyboard team.
So before we get
Alf, we'll say that.
Before we get too off topic, we can and definitely probably will revisit this.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
But before we get too off topic,
right.
We've talked about preparing all those sausage ingredients, marketing, the group buy, the renders, prototype samples, getting all ready. So everything's ready. You launch your group buy. You launch your brand new product. When you launch something, that initial rush, do you kind of like the anticipation? Is it more like you got to sprint out the line to get as much as you can out first and then let it trickle? Or do you feel like it's going to be a marathon where you got to try to keep up the momentum even after you've met MOQ?
You got to keep going.
You got to keep going?
You got to keep going. I mean, even the start for smaller vendors like me, I throw a group buy out and the goal is to get 60-70% first.
Yeah, not necessarily
and then
buys, but like
the rest of the time is just spent
a couple days
marathoning to hit MOQ. That last 30% for some reason always gets hit in the last like 3 weeks for me, or like 2 weeks, or like week or two for me, which is really not good. But that's how I work.
Buys, like keycap buys, I feel like most, like probably 3/4 are within like the first 5 days and the last 5 days. Is that accurate?
I'd say for me, it's day one and last day.
Yeah,
day one.
So it's like day one
sprints.
is like half of MOQ. Day two is like more than MOQ even has to be, or the last day. Every single day in between is like 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah.
That influx in sales after you post on Mech Market, just like a random update in Mech Market, I find those very fulfilling.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of have a post marketing plan, I guess, that's in my head. It's not official or written down anywhere, but it's like I do the same kind of thing where every so many days you make a post somewhere just to keep it in people's minds. Once a week, you want to make an update post that actually says update to make people know that you are still there. Because there are some people that don't buy every single thing that may want to know that you still exist. They don't know that I ran a bus. They've only drawn this one.
Yeah. So
just keeping it in people's minds, I guess, is the...
As a real quick short form version of the answer, Krelbit, is our buys a series of sprints or a marathon?
A series. Well, I'd say a series of sprints. Yeah.
Hineybush, what do you think? A series of sprints or a marathon?
It's definitely a series of sprints. It's like one every 3 to 5 days. I would
Garrett?
say.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a marathon leading up to it, as far as it's a marathon of sprints. I think that's a good way to put
marathon of
A
sprints.
marathon of sprints.
That's
I've
tough.
never ran a marathon, so I don't even know.
it. I was
what
middle
that means.
distance.
So
It's just
but-
you have to keep consistency in I think like your marketing, what you're doing, but that all leads up to like the first day or two
yeah,
of the buy, and then like that's a sprint, and then your next sprint, or this could probably be maybe a marathon, is like between that day and like the second or third to the last day, and that's where you should be consistent with your updates, with your posts, with hey, we have this many orders out of this many we need. Like Dixie, you have a really cool meter on your page now for how close to MOQ you are. Like making sure that's all right, making sure that's updated, addressing questions, and then the last couple of days is also your sprint, where
Yeah, you just want to like shill the crap out of it in the last 3 days.
They won't get mad at you in the last like 3 days. It's
people
great.
understand.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
going to get a huge chunk of what you need in day one. So
Mhm,
then the goal
definitely.
is by week 4, I need to be in a position to where the last day is going to get me there.
Mhm.
So I don't need to get 500 in those 3 weeks. I just need to get enough to make sure that I can make it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Luckily for a lot of group buys in the past 2 months, that hadn't even been a problem. I mean, all of them have been at MOQ in a week. So, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know if that's just become the norm, and I hope so. But
The market is
now,
growing
like,
super fast.
Super fast.
huge. Like I'm honestly like I really like Mizo, but I'm very surprised that it's sold as many as it has.
I am too, actually.
Last
But
last
$500,
year,
isn't it?
last year I feel like that would hit 250, 300 around there. But
Maybe like look
The
at like the
interesting
stuff that even
information-
Donut Cat ran, which was good stuff, but it was like that he struggled to hit 150 even.
he
And
had
that was-
zero
that was-
marketing.
That was
Yeah,
2 years ago.
his marketing
Like,
was
there were
not
literally
bad.
sets
that was
that
2
I
years
didn't
ago.
even know existed until a month after it ended.
Yeah, that's true. That's
And
true.
I am on this
So-
every single day in every single place.
Mm-hmm.
Which I keep data on all of my key sets and even attempt to keep data on everyone else's just to have as much information to compare myself to.
Mhm.
So like I have day 1, week 2, week 3 of all my group buys and what numbers I was at. And Mizu is actually ahead of minimal by 100
Oh,
right now.
By
which gives me-
GMK Mizu.
By
Yeah,
GMP
so
music.
like I am confident like if
And
minimal
Space
is
keys.
700.
And space keys. I need
So, one thing I definitely want to bring up in the sausage making sphere is something that comes up a lot in our hobby for whatever reason, but criticism and popcorn during buys, before buys, around the time of buys, things just happen. Sometimes you're involved with them, sometimes you're not involved with them, sometimes you're just like referenced to them as vendors. How do you guys see pop? I know Heine, there have been projects where you've been like on the fringe of involvement to a degree because it might something might have your PCB, or like you might have been just associated with a small part of the
Yeah.
design. What do you guys feel about popcorn, melon corn?
I've had
melons?
the fortunate pleasure of not being involved in much popcorn. The only popcorn being these guys, right? Geek Hack, the old guard, Geek Hack, is not a big fan of, I guess, what they like, some kind of appropriation, some form of it. I don't know. I
Quit
don't
appropriating keycaps. That's my
quit
culture.
appropriating our keycaps.
I think it goes
A lot
back
of people are
to-
fine with it, but it's just that it started out as like this inside community joke, and now they're kind of looking at me as like this kid that keeps trying to capitalize off of it. Even though like the point of these buys, like the DCS single cap funny face buys, right? It's the same as it was on Geekcack, and that's just to have a stupid, cheap, fun little thing, right? And I thought that was enough. But other people are like, oh no, like that can't compare to, Sadster hype or, no, put it away, put it away, put it away.
I think a lot of this drama and popcorn goes back to our first question in choosing who you work with.
Oh,
Mm,
definitely.
So
Yeah.
like
If you
I
associate
kind of
yourself with good people,
yeah.
you'll have good reactions.
Like
If
I've
you
had
don't, good luck.
I'm not going to say names, but there are people that I was ready to do a project with, and I kind of knew there was possibly a chance. So I'm like, let me keep my eyes peeled. And eventually I was like, no, I don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Trust
like,
your
I
gut.
don't trust you to represent me by what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Like this is a business for me. This
I'm
pays
a
my bills. To
slightly-
you, it's just something you do every now and
Okay.
then.
I'm slightly controversial as things go.
I can be an
I've-
asshole. I don't care.
I've got
That's fine.
outspoken opinions and a very small filter.
So
But
there's a guy on the HBCP interest trek, probably
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, a while ago, a couple months ago, where he like made this massive long post and like basically like just offer suggestions about every single thing, and like just was like, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? I was like, I just quoted and I was like, if this is what you want to do, just design your own board because I designed it how I want. I was like, sorry, but I'm not going to do any of these things. Stuff like that can be annoying on the designing side. Like for Violet on Cream, which will be on Novel Keys. Sorry, Dixie, I know you're busy with 8008, which is going to be sick.
novel
Yeah.
cream.
But yeah, Violet on Cream GMK. It's like it uses like the old school kind of legends, like originative, like the OCO sets, that kind of stuff. Which I thought fit it well. And people are like, "Oh, like why don't you use icon mods?" I'm like, because it's not what the set is designed to emulate. Like, I don't want to. That's not what I want.
There's a lot
I'm
of people
designing it
stuck
how I want it.
thinking that icon mod should be every single set. That's
And
the
that
only
would be
way.
so boring.
And it's like people who are actually designing things, we do things for a certain reason.
Mm-hmm.
This thing was done this way because this is why.
Honestly,
I personally love icon mods,
Yeah, me too.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on
like
the,
he
on the
said,
set.
some set it just doesn't work. Like I have some colorways that I've designed that only work in SA profile.
Mm-hmm.
That font is the only reason it works. Like,
Yeah.
I'd love to run it GMK, but I'm like, it looks like trash.
Yeah.
Like it just
Hey,
It's just
chocolatier.
when you
What up?
have-
Never mind. What?
Hey.
What?
When you have people coming in and saying, "Oh, you should do it this more," I'm like, okay, well, that's you. That's not what I want to do. That's not And if someone is narrowing their, I guess, kind of skill set or what their products are going to be into one specific mold, that's not good because you're going to end up with sets that look like each other often.
over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly, and it gets boring. Like these different ideas exist for a reason. I don't know. It's just I just think it's dumb to kind of to shoehorn yourself into one specific,
Yeah.
kind of concept. Right?
I rather go out of my way to not take many suggestions when
Yeah, I get to the
when
point where
planning anything. Like especially with me, I put the interest check up. That was not to garner interest. Let me say that. That was purely
We all said it earlier.
that was
we don't use
purely
interest checks. for
yeah, that was
interest
purely
for
for marketing.
feedback.
But people were still like,
Yeah.
where's
I
ISO?
do-
We're
I
like,
think they have a place for feedback. Like there
they're like,
are.
I
a
don't
lot
want
of-
that badge there. I'm like, that's the point of the board,
a
bud.
lot of the feedback, in my opinion, or in my instances, have been done in private, where I PM people, I post in certain discords and stuff that I'm in, where I garner feedback from people I respect, people I work closely with, people
I garner
that
feedback
I know
from
would have a
people-
good gauge.
People I know that would buy things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
but like if
I
I have
ask
an initial
people that
idea,
know-
I post like, "Hey, do you guys think this would be cool?" And they typically
Mhm.
they also have a good grasp of the market.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh yeah, do that," or "No, you should do this," and that's where that happens.
Yeah, I mean, you have your set amount of your people, I guess, that
Mhm.
you
The
respect. And you
boys.
trust their opinion. Like I know you know what you're talking about. You're not Joe Bob 69 on Reddit. I know that what you say, there's substance behind it, and I trust
Mhm.
what you're telling.
Yeah.
And I know you have experience from doing projects in the past that prove that you know what you're talking about. That's how I do it. Like I haven't even posted an interest check for my keyboard. I don't even know if I am.
Mhm.
Like I don't think I need.
But a lot of people know what it is just because of the name, and you
Yeah.
could even hey, Dixie's making Bower, and you're like, what's Bower? Is it a key set? Is it a keyboard? Like, what's it gonna be? And then you go like to your Discord, or you like search like Dixie Mech Bower, and you can find information. Like I think an interest check could be worthwhile just to garner a little bit more hype with it. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. That's the other beauty of it. It's your product.
I've never posted a
If you want.
group buy geek hack post. Interest checks are easier because you kind of can just leave them and let them
I
die.
think Janglad posted the ones for Modern Dolce.
Yeah,
I thought
all the
that-
ones that I've done, the designer has posted it. Because keeping up with that group buy, they're so strict with like, you didn't make an update in 14 minutes. It's like I run so many things that like eventually I'm gonna forget something. Like,
Yeah. So
What you can maybe do is like there's like a vendor like sub group in there, like sub forum, where you got like Dixie Mech sub forum, like where you're the mod.
I've heard mixed
I
things
don't think
about
that's
that
been used.
because I
Yeah,
think
don't
a
it's
lot of
been
people
used very-
end up just using that as like customer support as opposed to
Mhm.
like a
It'd be nice
subforum
if all you
about
do
it.
is you like maintain just like a list of what you've done and then like a previous list.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
that's kind of been one of my goals with the changes that I've slowly been making with creating a Discord server, creating updates on the site. Is I'm trying to get to the point where I don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
people would rather go to a page that shows it nice visually. They know they can go to the Discord, talk to people about it in a normal conversation way and not forum posts.
I think
Right.
Discord's helped this
I
community.
mean,
a lot.
It's like, oh my gosh.
I'm in
crazy.
GMK Mizu Discord. It's super
Yeah.
lit.
Yeah.
It's
So now that all these products are being made, the sausages arrive at your doors. Next part I want to talk about is how do you give people your sausage?
Well, you see
I
here,
am talking
I
about-
open up this Crytox 324G0. I dipped like the front of its side and just right in. It used to work better with a little vials because I right there.
sorry,
So-
No
but
joking.
get the
I do it as
paintbrush
fast
out.
as possible.
Yeah, so
Me too.
logistics. That's what I'm talking about here. Logistics. How do you deal with shipping? How do you deal with handling proxies? For example, Krelbit, in your frame, we see boxes behind you with labels on them. You are dealing with shipping out of a college apartment, essentially, right?
yeah.
How is
Here's my
it
shipping
receiving, for example, receiving a package from whatever it is, whether it's JTK for shipping out your
Okay.
riot.
JTK
or-
was sent to my residential address back in the
okay.
suburbs. So
smart.
that was I am not wheeling a pallet of boxes up like 2 flights of stairs. Trust me. I will break something. Do you see these arms? They're small, okay? So that was sent to my house. And I think and then it's just a work bender. I go home for the weekend and I try to do as much as possible. I think I got Yulch out. We finished that in a day. I called over a friend. Shout outs to Berto. Got that on a day. And then Red Riot did that completely alone. Took 2 days of just elbow grease, I guess. Like I just went at it, and then
You just grind it.
you just
You
you
get the rhythm and you just go.
you just put the headphones in. You just
Speaking
Yeah.
of just grinding packing, I'm not sure if people in chat, you guys are following Dixie Mech on Instagram. You should, because every now and then we pack a million things. You completely fill with boxes your car. Like it's like the front seat's full, all the seats
I've
full.
got
It's full
I've got
from
USPS
top,
pickup.
bottom to top. Like I don't even know how you probably can't see behind you when you drive,
No,
but
definitely not.
everything
And they
is
fall on you when you
completely
brake.
filled. Like like you mentioned earlier, you're working on a million things at once. How is it? Are you just shipping all day, half the day? I don't know when you
I
have
mean,
time.
luckily the way that we do things,
You just do it in like
it's pre-orders. So
yeah.
it comes in, and part of the job is planning and making sure nothing shows up at the same time, the best you can.
Yeah.
Which I got unlucky in last month. 2 keycap sets and all of the mass drop mouse pads showed up at the same week. So, and everybody knew that they arrived. So everyone's asking me. So that was like literally 7 straight days of like just 15 hours, just nonstop.
Right,
till I
right.
could finish it. My
That's
wrist
how-
really
that's how Red
had
Riot was.
arthritis. But before this,
And
2
that was
months
just one
ago-
set.
Yeah, before 6 months ago, I lived with my parents before I got married.
Mhm.
And I was literally packing GMK sets Like my bed was here, and there's a table in the 3 feet. So like I literally I was touching the bed and the table at the same time. Like I would stand there and pack. Like GMK Violent Tendencies took me like 25 hours straight just doing it all by myself. So I was just like, luckily now I actually have a room with no bed in it, an
Yeah.
actual office now.
Having a dedicated space is so
Soon. Oh,
yeah,
I'm so jealous.
It changed my world.
yeah.
But I basically
agree.
just like it comes in. There's a giant pallet, usually.
Yep.
I count everything, make sure everything's there. So, because you got to count before. Cause if you get to the end, you're like, I was supposed to have 16 extras, and now I have 12.
Uh-oh.
Too late. You already shipped them all. So, but I mean, I count everything. I organize everything depending on what it is. GMK is easy. It's a box that you put in a box.
Slate was pretty
Oh.
easy too.
Yeah. Oblique, 18 different kits. I had like 2,500 different baggies with keycaps in them. So I literally took each box that had written what was supposed to be in the box.
You just gotta go by case then,
Yeah.
right?
I made sure every
goodness.
box had the right number, and then I added that number up to what I ordered. And then I put each person's orders of their 6 bags in another bag, and then put those bags in a box. Like,
Do you ever like
That was crazy.
or ever hire like temp workers to help you for like a day or two even? Or
Once.
like
I do it all
do
myself.
you just grind?
I make my girlfriend help me.
on 9009, my very first one, my family helped me build boxes, which they wanted to help me pack them, but I was like, I got to make sure this is right. Because when I got 9009, I knew, I was like, this is my shot to show everybody what I got. Because at that point, there weren't as many options out there.
Mhm.
That was right. Like, Mike was like the only option. So I was like, this is to show everybody what I got. I was like, at this point, group buys are taking 3 months to ship out. Like, after everybody knows the product's there, it's been 2 months. I was like, I'm going to get this crap out in 2 days. I was like, I'm going to do something nobody's ever done before. It's basically what I was thinking. So I literally just worked. And my family, I told them that, and I guess they were supporting me, and they were like, let's make this happen. But ever since
awesome.
then, I've just done them all by myself. My wife helped me count, but
I like doing stuff myself because I have complete control over it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think one time I've
I
had
think I
to
have
hire
trust
on
issues.
like a bud, right? Just to help me like package lube.
Yeah.
Not even package lube. Like I'd pack the lube because I didn't trust him with, like filling up the
Yeah.
vials right.
I have trust issues with people touching shit.
And I would
Yeah.
just be like, okay, so this is a packing list because he's an ex Amazon employee, so he knows what's up. So I just threw him the packing. I just threw him the packing list. There's only like 3 products, right? At this point, there's 204, there's 205, and there's 203. And I was like, okay, so they're separated into 3 piles, right? Should be fairly easy. Just like look at the packing list, get to it, and then he just got to it. It was fast. I was just sitting there like with a syringe, and it's because I had like maybe a month's worth of orders that were like a little like because I had winter break.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, everything during winter break will be processed after winter break. And so after winter break, when nothing was done because I was, like trying to get over a breakup at that point, so it was just like
Trying
work, not crying, not to cry a lot.
Yeah,
But
I guess it's an entrepreneur thing that you created this from scratch.
You just want to own it.
So
Yeah.
I want to make sure this is right. Because if you put something in the box wrong and go home, that person's going to be talking to me, thinking that I'm the one that screwed it up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take all that pressure.
Ever since then, I think
Yeah.
I've pretty much gone solo, with the exception of once when I had a friend help me with Yolch, but he was already in the keyboard community, so it's a little less. It's a little less risky in that situation.
He knows what a
I'd say.
spacebar kit is.
Yes.
He's
Well,
not
it was
my
just
mom.
it was just sets of Yolch, right? So it's just like
I've had
like we counted them beforehand, and then like we got them off, and it was okay. Like
I live in Southwest Ohio in Dayton, and I'm pretty active with like the Ohio keyboard beat-ups, like Matt Jacobsmere, who also does KeyCon. Him and Greg Edifos, or I forget how to say his name, but they're like super great at organizing meetups and stuff. So I try to go as many as I can, and I meet a lot of people. And I've had a couple of people actually like reach out to me and say, "Hey, like if you need help, shipping stuff or with whatever you're doing, let me know. Like I live an hour away, I can come out and help you out for the day." And I'm just like, sorry, like I just want to do it myself. I mean, if I do need the help, I can do it, but my policy is one shipping at a time. Like one major
never
group
pack
at a
more
time.
than one at the same time.
Yeah, one major group at a time. Like I know I have H87A is coming mid to late June. Maybe I'll ship them into early July, but that's it. Like OG Space Keys will probably be like August, maybe September. Like I have a timeline kind of spread out as far as like knowing lead times, and every manufacturer that's good will give you a lead time, so you know when to plan to have boxes.
Yeah.
Supplies, that sort of thing. But yeah, like it like the outreach, I guess, from the community is really nice because like people offer to help. Like I'll give someone a free set if they help me, but I doubt I would have them help. I don't know. Yeah, I just like Garrett said, like I just like owning it all and just doing it all myself. And like I was like I shipped all the Slay stuff out and I was like, yes. It's like I'm done.
That's how I felt after it, right? For sure. Because I had this giant wall of boxes, and I just dragged it down. I was like, okay, so schedule a USPS pickup because I finished at like 11 p.m. or something.
See, I drive mine out. The way I organize my stuff, I don't know how you guys do it, but I use ShipStation. I think you both do.
Yeah.
I organize mine by number of line items.
Right. Yeah, me too.
So I do most to least. Well, I do proxies first because that takes like a week, maybe 2 weeks to get to the proxies.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that time, I ship my orders out. And then I do extras like immediately after. And
I have I have a very specific system how I do like everything.
I do monogamous orders first.
I do all the same. Like, so if you have 3 line items,
you don't want to be changing. That's when you
mess up. Exactly.
I find all the same and I do them all at once, and that's it.
So if I got 100 that are only basic kits, I'm gonna do all 100 of them.
Yep.
And the next one, I'm gonna do the next 150 that only have base and numpad, all of those at the same time. Which I learned that.
You're not gonna mix in base and like spacebar.
Or Huey.
I would do that. I learned that the hard way, where I was just doing them.
I packed
order
sort
number.
of thing. What?
Yeah,
I did my own group. I've done a group buy, so yeah, I know what it's like.
I
can hang with the cool kids.
I set things in certain places, so it's like visually a spacebar kit and an add-on kit look the same.
Yeah,
they're the same size, they're the same shape, same colors. So if I'm in the rhythm 5 hours in and I'm just cranking, I might grab an add-on instead of a spacebar. Mm-hmm. So I make sure I put the spaceBars on the left, add-ons on the right. So that
you put
them in a different room. Yeah,
like if you're not packing them, just put them on the shelf somewhere where you don't.
It's all about muscle memory for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
especially when you get to that point where you're just rolling on it.
I think now that we've run through the whole gamut of this sausage
making
process, no, it's fine. It's really, I like this conversation. We've gone through, working with different sausage makers, preparing the sausage ingredients, making the sausages, and giving people your sausage. I want you guys to reflect now. What's the best and worst sausages that you guys have given? The best group buys.
I bought a car to deliver my sausages. That Jeep you're talking about.
Yeah,
I forgot to say that.
The sausage.
I really bought it to drive packages to the post office.
That's why I want a Gen 3 4Runner.
I just schedule a USPS pickup and they get it the next day.
And I'm okay with that.
In
my parents' house, I could do that. But now that I've moved, they don't do the pickup at my new residence.
Yeah, it's
our post office literally has 2 employees.
Yeah, I like driving them to the post office and handing them off myself because I don't necessarily trust the mail carriers. I've seen some packages I've gotten.
Oh, I know all my mailmen.
So my mail lady at my parents' house was my wife's aunt. Oh, so she was literally in my family. So she would literally text me and say, "I'm on my way."
On my way.
And then she retired. So now at the new place, I just got my mail lady's number last month. So now I've got that hookup again. But I basically will fill that Jeep up to the top, drive it down there. Our post office has 2 employees. Like, that's how small it is.
You just help them out at that point.
I pulled up, and the lady, every time she would pull out another cart, she was like, "Holy crap, there's still more?" And they were like, "You just gave us more packages in one day than we've had the whole month."
Sorry.
Awesome.
So they were like, "This is amazing because we get credit for every package."
Right. Yeah.
Krelbit.
See, I remember I talked
What's up?
Best
Yeah,
and
you-
worst sausage.
You already know. You already. Okay, can we go public or?
You can do both. You can do whichever you want.
Okay. Best one I've run. Very first one. Peaked early. That was the DCS Whatster way back in 2017. My very first group. I didn't even fully run that one. I ran that one with basically a partner, a mentor, right? And that was what really got me into the community, into vendoring at all, right? So I think that was, while not the most successful, was personally the best because it kickstarted the entire thing. It got my interest. It started a lot, and I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, monetarily best, I'd say probably JTK Red Riot, because even though that set, I didn't sell very many of them during the initial group I run. But right after, like maybe even the day after, I started opening up pre-orders because I bought out the rest of the sets and was like, okay, I'll put these up for pre-order. And now that people knew it was actually going to happen, like I cleared out of those in 2 months versus like the
That's a
2
huge
months
thing.
that they were supposed to arrive. I cleared out. Like I don't have it. I have like maybe 5 or 6 sets left that I've got one to send to a person, and then like now they're just giveaway prizes when I like
That's
feel
kind of why I
like
did those MOQ bars.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that wait to join until they know it's going to reach a certain number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty common, too.
I really think that sucks, but at the same time, it was very gratifying to just buy out the rest of MOQ.
So, Krelbit, is this the worst sausage or the one of the other best sausages? How do you rank this on the sausage list?
That's
Hold
a
on.
nice feed on
Let's
that
make,
thing.
let's
Right?
make Garrett
It's the
feel-
same
let's
feet
make
as
Garrett
the
feel out
M65.
of-
Yeah, I bought some off of him for an M65. I was trying to piece together.
Oh, with the fucking pelican.
Are we showing off pelicans? And I can,
Sorry, we're gonna make you feel left out here real quick, Garrett.
headgummit. Let me grab something.
I don't even have my build. I don't
Oh
use
shit,
it.
here's Bill.
If anyone wants to buy it, inquire within.
I straight up just
says
made a
penis.
meme out of mine.
This is my meme. It's dead.
Rip.
Part.
Right,
This
you
is the
can-
worst.
you can-
This is the worst sausage.
The worst sausage.
Mine's
This is-
like it's screwed in right now, but I can pull it apart because the threading is awful. This was like the guinea pig.
I think
This
you
was
just cursed
definitely the-
yourself with the name.
This was definitely the guinea pig.
So,
In all,
Okay.
in the scope of things, it ended up well. Like it
No,
ended
no,
up good.
no. But let's walk through the whole thing. Okay.
yeah, let's walk
So,
through why this is
I-
the worst sausage.
I approached Heine about making a board, which became the meme, and like we came up with this over a few months, and it came out really nicely in the designs. We had good renders, like everything was set. I started the interest check. Everyone was receptive, and it was great for a while. And then I had the choice of using a US based machinist.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
Datums. And his like he gave me a quote, and I planned for the quote, and everything happened around that quote. And then I hit him up 2 weeks later after I posted the interest check, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do it like this. And he's like, okay, so prices have gone up. And then their prices went up maybe $70-$80 a case, which
That's your profit when you run a case.
that's all the
your
profit.
Entire profit.
That's the
You're
profit.
not making $400 or $500 or even $100, maybe $200 on a case. You're making like 60, 70, maybe 80 if you're lucky.
Yeah, and that brought it to a point where if I were to sell this board, it would cost $500-$600 a kit, and I was like, that's unacceptable, obviously, right? So, originally it was meant to be a like private, very small unit group buy, but then I hit up Datum's and his prices increased. So I was like, this is bad, you know, because I just wanted something for myself, to be honest. Like that was just how it was supposed to be. And then like a few friends could tag on if they wanted. So the prices went up. So I posted the formal Geek Hack interest check, not the private DM one, right? And what happened then was that like a lot of people were interested, and this was cool. People still ask me about it to this day. They're like, the meme is sick. Like, can I get one? And I'm like, no.
Maybe one day.
No.
Yeah. No.
So I was like, okay, we're gonna get like 30 of them, right? And we're gonna like run those, and it's gonna be great. And we're gonna run them through Datum's still. And then he's like, yeah, our prices won't decrease that much if you order 30. We're only gonna go down like $20. And I was like, okay, across the sea we go, right? Going to the east, to China, and so nice.
Background.
We hit. So I asked around for, suggestions from my local sphere, and a prominent designer recommended. I'll say their name. I'm not afraid of that. Okay. A machinery called Sunpeak Co. Don't use them.
Don't use them.
Don't use them. Don't use them. So I was like, I hit up my a close group of friends and like a couple randoms that were just lucky, right time, right place, right? Or maybe not right time, right place. Okay, we got those people. We started, just talking in DMs. We had this group DM set up for the meme. And I was like 10 units because now China can do it cheaper than the US can. So I can get less units, and this is what it was originally meant to be. But then I just ended up debating like all the people who were like, where's that meme,
Artificial scarcity, baby.
Artificial scarcity, 1.3K.
Got him.
Easy money.
Okay. So we ran it, and there was a ton of complications with colors. That was the first red flag, to be completely honest. Yeah, I remember that. There were a ton of complications with colors, and then we finally got the boards. And I was like, nice, got the board. I opened the boards, opened up the first one, and it was Brian's, actually. It was Brian Walker's. Brian Walker's Quake'em. His was actually the best quality-wise out of the whole batch. So I pulled it out. There's like a few like imperfections here and there, but like nothing I can't refund $40 for and be on my way, right? And then I open up the rest of them.
I remember you PM me and you were like, dude, this is bad.
Dude,
I was like, fuck.
this is not. And I was like, dude,
I was like, all right.
this is bad.
Yikes.
Let's get a whole bill of wrongdoings. The plates wouldn't fit in the cases. They were all fucked. The PCBs wouldn't fit in the cases. Those were fucked too. The daughter boards did not have the right mounting. That was on us.
Yeah,
that was
such an experimental case in general.
That was experimental. Yeah.
That's why you get protos.
We experimented twice. That was the proto round. That was the proto round. That was the protos.
Well, now we know to not fucking do that.
The anodization was...
Thank y'all for screwing this up so that I would know not to do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the anodization was so
Dude, I have like
subpar.
I have like a oops. I don't know if you might be able to see it here on stream.
You know what? Like the funny thing is,
They-
my first one. For those who don't know, this is
Like,
technically my
right
second meme.
here.
My
wait.
first meme was actually great, but it got shanked by USPS
Twice.
twice.
It literally got like stabbed with a screwdriver in the side.
Like he sent
Oh
us
my God.
pictures of the box, and it was just like stabbed. It was like stabbed.
Why did we have that extra red one? I forget.
I don't know, but I'm happy I got it.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with that one. But yeah, I was like,
Pudsey, Olivia.
The other color.
Okay,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that whole.
we had a rose gold case, and it came out champagne orange.
That's
right.
the quality of
That's
anodization. So watch
That's
out.
the quality of
That's fine.
anodization.
I'm not doing Anno.
Okay.
Cerakote's the future.
Anno's
Yeah.
good, but don't use Pantones. Try to use RAL, and also toss a disclaimer on saying we will not. It might not be 100% accurate. We'll do the best that we can.
No, you don't offer Pantones at all. You just offer color.
Yeah, you say it will be a light
It will
blue
be-
or a dark blue.
Not even that. It will be blue.
That's why I like Cerakote.
It
I
will
can
be-
literally say, go to Cerakote.com and type in this number. That's what you're going to get.
It
That's
will
what,
be
like,
red.
with,
You
like,
know?
a RAL deck, a RAL is more useful than Pantone.
Yeah.
I've seen and heard in this kind of design. Like Garrett, you're probably used to using Pantone from like the graphic design.
I'm going
side
to the
of
restroom
stuff.
real quick.
Okay.
Tell, tell chat more about the meme.
Okay.
But yeah, like RAL is more like industry and like architecture and like I guess tangible products, right?
Yeah, like physical.
So yeah, it's a lot easier, especially even like for GMK, to use this when you say because I guess the way that you mix stuff is more conducive to.
Well, yeah, Pantone is meant for either digital, which it's not like actually made for digital. It's like its main purpose is print on a piece of paper.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, printing. Yeah,
Like that's the purpose. But yes, as a graphic designer, obviously we use Pantones. Like I did screen printing, all embroidery, all that kind of stuff. So we had tangible goods, but they were with inks, which is another huge use of Pantone.
Okay.
But when I had learned about RAL or RAL, however you say it, in this business. So
Yeah.
I have them all now.
Should we top
have
off?
all the
and
Pantone
it's nice
books.
because this fan book is like $19 on Amazon.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so if you're gonna go and you're going to the K7,
I mean, a Pantone of the same like size
a
would be
Pantone
like
book is like
fucking 100, 200 bucks.
You can get individuals, which is nice. I think you can do the same with this. But yeah, this K7 was $18 on Amazon.
Yeah.
I have this one.
Look at this guy.
And
flexing on us.
that's cheaper than one thing of
Yeah,
Pantones.
that's revenge from the meme.
Oh my goodness, that's a
this-
lot of those are RAL.
Raw
You
colors.
Those are
got,
RAL, yeah.
the King deck.
Heck yeah.
That's cheaper than one thing of Pantone.
If you're gonna do a key set, I mean, this is a good start. $18, it's worth getting.
Mhm.
Yeah. The
Yes.
thing I like, I have all of them. So if someone does come to me, like their interest check is done. They're like, I have all the Pantones. They're ready. They can tell me all the Pantones, and then I can pick a RAL literally
Yeah, you can
physically next to the
cross-reference them, yeah.
Pantones and just change it over to RAL perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Or
Alright.
getting it within like a certain threshold of.
So Garrett, you've had a lot of great sausages.
Oh wait, we didn't finish meme.
Oh, we didn't finish meme. Okay, I thought you finished.
Yeah,
meme.
Yeah,
the
you
memes
talked about
arrived.
that
The
one.
You're
memes
talking
were
about
botched.
post. Okay.
Yeah, the memes arrived. The memes were botched. We fixed them up over like a month or two.
About a
Sent them
month,
all
yeah.
out. Yeah, sent them all out. Sent everyone refunds. Everyone at the end was happy.
Yeah.
Like they got a
That's good to hear.
subpar board, and they got most of their money back.
And they also
But-
knew they were getting a subpar board because of the communication.
great
involved.
Yeah.
communication.
We were just like, okay, so this is what we can do. We
Here's-
can order new cases from a new factory right now
Yep.
with the money that was refunded, or we can fix her up, send you most of your money back, move on with our lives. And we had a vote. You know,
It was a
the
vote, yeah.
the participants decided what ended up ultimately happening.
And you pinged each person with like, this is what's wrong with your case.
Yeah, I pinged every single person.
I would message people as I was going through them and drummeling them all. And
If you go
trying to make
through,
everything fit.
if you go through my complaints album, the one that I sent earlier, you can see a piece of paper with every single complaint written on it individually. It's somewhere there, and it's great. And I just copied that. I just wrote that down and sent everybody, hey, this is what's wrong with your board. This is how much we can offer you as a refund, and we'll move on from there. The only exception to this being Olivia, who is like, I
She
want a
still-
rose.
Her color was completely wrong.
I want a rose gold board, man.
I will
Like
not
I want a rose
Do you
gold
know who
board,
I
man.
am? Is that what she said?
You know who I am. We got her board and this board actually. Look at this. This plate fits in the case without any prior machining. Nice. We got two cases redone rather, through a different factory. The one responsible for the Q, the QXP, etc. and ultimately we got those out too. So that group buy is over. It was a disaster, but it ended well because I did learn a lot communication wise during that thing, and
Hey,
I
that-
think
That's one of my sayings that I didn't come up with, but I don't know who did, so I claim it. I say they're not losses, they're lessons.
Mhm.
Mm.
So every time you screw up, you're not going to do that again.
Yeah,
Hopefully, or you
definitely. Well, okay, we also did something new twice with this board. This is the first time, like right before like Rama stuff started using daughter boards, and that anyone was using daughter boards. So this was pre-daughter board era, and this was one of the first boards that kind of ushered in that weird gasket wave.
Yeah.
That I don't see any merit in because the switches I use don't use any noise, but the main appeal of gasket is the noise. So whoops. Whoops. Whoops.
Yeah, when you have to.
And then on top of that, we had these badges that are screw in. I can't show that, but we have these badges that are screw in, and they're like customizable. They were, and like
Mine say penis.
yeah, they say
Because
penis.
that's what I rendered it as initially, because we didn't have it.
Yeah, we didn't have a name, but yeah, like we tried so much new stuff with this, and that was not smart. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned. Stop trying new stuff. Only like one new thing at a time.
I hope
Don't.
you all
Don't-
learned from that story, by the way. That was Feels Long was a very good story with a lot of lessons.
Don't try too much shit. You will be punished for it.
Don't do too much at once. Don't try to be super innovative. Change the world. Change keyboards forever. Just do one thing well is better. Doing one thing very well is doing better than doing 10 things on average or below average. Absolutely.
And make sure you communicate.
Especially when people
God.
when quality is everything in these boards and people are paying hundreds of dollars for them for a keyboard, which is, I recognize the fact that it's ridiculous, but yeah, like people are expecting a certain level of quality and all that kind of stuff. It's just you just have to do stuff the right way,
And that is the saga of the meme. It's dead
That's the
forever.
saga of
It's
the
not coming back.
I'll make
Please
one.
stop messaging me about
I'll
it.
make one.
You're only going to hurt me.
So,
It might make some kind of reappearance in the near future. That's all I can say.
let's
But
move.
not in its current form.
Let's move to Garrett and Dixie Mech. Best and worst sausage. I think I'd say it's hard to even nail you having like a bad sausage because basically everything
I've
you've
had a
ran
couple.
9009
Alright.
on has been great in my opinion, but I do want to hear what you think were the best and the worst.
I guess I will say that minimal is the best because Mizu's not over. Mizu's on track to do better as far as the data.
But the group buy is not over, right?
Yeah, it's not over, so. But minimal sold more than 9009, which at the time was my best-selling one. So minimal, I guess, would be the best. Or the best sausage, as you're saying it. That one was just so easy. I mean, I don't know if it's just because we got in a rhythm of doing it. We knew the steps. I didn't even have I already knew what was going on. GMK, I've done so much stuff with them that they know me, I know them, and I could send an email at 10 words, and the group buy is ready to go. I mean, so that's the best one. I've had two that I would call bad sausages. I'd say 9009 Ortho was a bad sausage, which I probably learned the most from that group buy than any other one. Because basically it was a good idea. There was interest there because there were a lot of people because 9009 was so big, but the Ortho people were getting left out.
Yeah.
It was about 6 months after 9009, so hype was still there. But our problem is we ran the group by like 2 weeks after the interest check. It wasn't out there long enough. I also didn't collect email addresses in the interest check,
Ooh.
which in my opinion is the biggest thing you need to do in an interest check is require email addresses so that you can tell everyone that the product is now available. Because if 700 people sign up for your form and they don't know who you are after that form, they're never going to see it again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we had like 100 MOQ or 150, I can't remember. Like we barely sold any of those things. Like, I think we got to like 50. Like, it was
Because I
bad.
mean, those kind of boards suck, but that's okay.
Yeah, like it was a niche and a niche and a niche. Like it was just like, so I had to buy like a ton, like any profit I made and then times 3 to buy it out.
Wow.
And then it took me a year to sell all of them.
Wow.
So that one sucked. Luckily, it wasn't a 250 MOQ set.
Right.
You'd still be trying to sell them.
And I'd say my other flop, which wasn't a key set, it was a T-shirt, which you would think isn't that big a deal. But I had made some T-shirts. I liked them. And for some reason, I decided I'm going to buy 100 of these things, 150 of these things, which doesn't seem like that many. But when at the time, it was like at the beginning of my business.
Mhm.
So I shelled out $700-800 for 100 T-shirts. I still haven't sold those T-shirts.
Which
Yo,
t-shirts?
I still
Hey,
have
man.
I'll buy
stacks
one.
of
Fuck.
them.
Any free t-shirts avail? You
I-
gotta
Literally what I use them for is
No, like,
giveaways. Anytime
I
anyone
understand
wants
you gotta get a t-shirt gun, dude.
because Brian and I had 100 Top Clack T-shirts made that for Kono to sell. I'm confident they still haven't sold out, and I'm not even a part of
Shirts
Top
are
Clack
really
anymore.
tough because like people aren't necessarily. Oh, I want to rep this keyboard company.
It's like it's
Yeah.
a good idea,
Stickers are good.
but it
It
never
is,
executes well.
Yeah,
It's hard,
And
or
I
it's
made
hard
it-
to
it's a
execute.
good.
I made the
rub.
decision to make a Topre shirt, which is even less people.
I've seen people wearing that at meetups though,
Yeah,
but it's
mean-
like the only place that you're gonna be able to wear a keyboard shirt is at a meetup.
at a
Yeah,
meetup
I was
or
considering making a t-shirt with literally just like
Yeah.
Mr. Radster here. That would probably do a lot better because it doesn't have any like direct outings to say like, hey, I'm a damn nerd, right?
I did a TGR shirt. I did the TGR logo and like a. That was cool. What I did though is I went on Teespring or something, and the way you do it with them is like you set it up, and then people go to their site and buy them, and as more people buy them, the price goes down. And so they handle all that, and I just shipped them out, which wasn't too bad.
Well, I worked at a screen printing place. So like I was like, if there's
Yeah.
anybody to sell T-shirts, it's me. Because I can make them. I can walk out of my office and stand there and watch them make them. I custom mixed the ink colors myself in a cup for like 3 hours and matched it to the HHKB keycaps. Like that T-shirt ink is color matched to the stock Topre
That's
cap.
so sick. Like I like
That's
that
awesome.
a lot.
But I just do group buys. I'm like, there's no MOQ. However many people buy them, I don't care. If only 25 people buy them, cool. 25 people get them. I just like making them.
It's fun.
But I'm not going
joined
to
in
do that
that
stupid
one.
thing and buy 100 of them. I'm gonna
That's
buy
why I do. That's why I do these caps anymore. Like at all. Like they're.
I think stickers are worth investing in doing because you can toss them in every order. When you order as many as 500 or 1,000, I mean they cost cents on the dollar, really, which is nice. But yeah, I mean
I
I
was
have this whole
considering doing
fucking
stickers.
second. I have like a whole second pack of them.
I
These
need
are
to
Yeah.
do
bigger
stickers.
than
I need to do
bigger than
stickers.
really
I keep.
I can chill some other stickers. How about these?
Who's that? Never heard of
Who,
him.
Who's that?
who's
Tai-
this
Tai Hao?
Isn't that a keycap
Tai
set
Hao?
that's like subpar?
I
I
stopped
still-
doing stickers because the shipping was annoying as crap.
I just
Yeah,
do
I-
business
I-
cards.
I-
I've been doing business cards every single time. I give every single batch. I change up the design on the business card. That's literally
Yeah.
as artistic as I get.
And I think that's cool. Like it's a fun little like I have like 10-year business.
I know
cards.
someone with every single one. Like I've
Like,
I've had 7 of these at this point. There's someone with every single one. That's really sick.
A good example of people doing that is novel keys. Like Michael do like a bunch of like short
Yeah.
run ones. Like he
Yeah.
does special ones for like each key set too.
It was
Mhm.
just like I have
I
two of
have
like his
poly
newer
bags.
batch.
This is- I like
Oh,
that.
that's sick.
Oh, those bags are
These-
nice.
I've seen.
I just
it,
like
yeah.
making cool packaging, so I have.
You do a really really good job with it too.
Yeah, you gotta help me out, man.
I only do it for myself. Like when I'm packing it, I want it to look nice.
My
That's
packaging
clean.
sucks.
I do
You get-
the white. I do
you
the
get
white or the craft mailer.
This
the
is a
bubble
passion
wrap.
project. It's Terry Crews holding a keyboard.
I love that.
So I think this
This is what you get. You get a questionable quality Uline box that
I
may or
usually
may
don't.
not be stabbed by
I
USPS,
have them. This is my favorite.
and some questionable bubble wrap packaging. That's all you get from me.
nice. I think
Um,
it's a good time, since we're already here, to transition to the second talking point: state of the hobby, aka free talk. So if anyone in chat has questions now, feel free to ping any of us.
Here, I have 2 questions that I saved.
Yeah, what's up?
Let me start. So the first one was I didn't save who said them. Sorry, but the first one was what has been the hardest part in your keyboard career so far? That's a good one.
Definitely just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Just getting a name for myself took a while.
I think learning the ropes.
It took
yeah.
4 or 5 months for people to recognize that I could actually lube a Switch decently, even. So that took a while.
Oh, that's toxic, Nathan Kim.
Oof.
Uh,
I
We'll get
think
to
the
that.
word
Most-
hard. I don't want to seem like a douche, but I don't know if the
actually,
word
that's
hard is the correct word.
Mhm.
Because I mean, everything in this you can learn. Like you can figure it out.
This is
It's
true.
not physically difficult to do.
Keyboards.
At that point it was more luck for me because figuring everything out too was also like it took
It's just
time.
sticking to it.
Yeah.
It's not giving up, and I mean, just keep doing this till I get it right, and not settling for something subpar.
Mhm.
So it's more of just the keeping at it and not giving up, I guess, is the
Yeah.
hardest part.
Mhm.
Also, this last year has been pretty difficult. Having to deal with moving and stuff,
Mhm.
and like different circumstances regarding mail policy, and like going through a major breakup in like the same year. This year was pretty hard. And
Yeah.
I've gotten past.
And it's the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
life happens.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's just when
going-
life gets in the way.
Going back to the communication side of it, if you let people know, hey, I'm going through, I'm moving, I'm going through a tough time. There's stuff.
This
Going on
community is
outside
super
of
nice.
Keyboards.
I love these guys.
If you tell people that and you make that known, you say, hey, there might be a couple day delay, a week delay, whatever it might be.
Months delay.
And if you give them a reason why, that's okay. But if you don't say a word and their shit shows up 3 weeks late, they're gonna be pissed.
So I'm gonna say there's a small thing on the flip side in our community, something that I'm sure you guys have heard about. Also,
Group
known
by
as
runner's disease.
Group by runner's disease. It's not very prevalent with vendors once they've made a name, but for like individual
It's all
runners,
about making that website.
as soon as you make that
Exactly.
website, you're immune. But yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard, group by runner's disease. And those of you in chat who may not know what group by runner's disease is for some inexplicable reason. I'm not going to say why I think it is, but sometimes when people are individuals who try to run group buys, they inevitably will become sick. Someone in their family
run out of
becomes
money.
sick. Maybe a bone will break somewhere, but life happens, as
They
we
have
say.
a kid.
But one of the issues sometimes is most associated with that is the lack of communication, right? They'll just solve like, oh, this happened to me, and then they'll drop off.
There's
Excuses-
one
excuses are easy
instance
to make.
of group by runner disease actually being group by runner disease.
Yeah.
And that was Centrac.com.
Yeah.
Centrac fell very far behind on his orders because he contracted a really serious case of eczema, and he was
Really
hospitalized.
serious.
Yeah, like 2 months. And
But he communicated that. Like once he got out.
I think
he's
the
like, hey.
problem is he didn't communicate those 2 months, and then he
Yeah.
communicated right at the end when he was all better.
Yeah.
Like if he was right up front, was like, hey, I have like really bad eczema, and then he also had his store open for those 2 months,
Yeah, that
like,
was the
actively taking orders.
Mhm.
That's tough when you
Like
start
last year,
accumulation.
I got married, had a honeymoon, and moved to a new house within like 2 months.
Mhm.
So I basically just stopped selling stuff.
Yeah.
Like Modern Dolch happened. Modern Dolch ended. I mean, I think I sold the Mecha mats for 2 weeks, and I didn't sell another thing until like minimal.
hmm
It was almost like 6 months. I was like, this is just too much happening. Something is gonna fail if I try to do all this.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'd rather it. I don't want it to be my business, and I definitely don't want it to be my new marriage or a new house.
And
Yeah.
recognizing that shows a lot of like the people that are good at this and aren't. Taking on too much is very easy to do because you get confident from the first thing. You're like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. And then you have
Donut Cat.
a mountain of work to do. And I mean, honestly, you just have to get through it and just work through it. I mean, even like OLKB has a list of like 400 orders that are on wait. Like, it's very easy to get caught up in doing stuff, like especially when you're like, oh, I can make money doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, vending, the reason you're vending is to make money. But you can get caught up, you can get lost.
No.
I mean, I don't
Businesses
know.
make
I've
money.
done everything. I've done everything.
Supposed to be making money?
Done everything at a loss.
I've been doing everything it costs.
You guys make money?
Wait, you guys make money?
But yeah,
I'm
like,
supposed to move into my new cardboard box on the 22nd.
I just bought a new house yesterday. I'm living in it. But yeah, it's like, I mean, people get caught up, like they get jaded almost, where they're like, oh, I made $800 on this little group that I did. Oh my god, that's so much fun. But it's like you burn through it instantly with like prototypes and shit. Like, it's so quick and so easy.
The first time you're having fun.
Yeah,
It's the difference. The first time you're having fun. The second time you're doing
overwhelmed.
it's not fresh anymore.
People get overwhelmed. That's why my kind of policy is to do one buy at a time.
That's where I'm
run
at, too.
one thing at a time. Yeah, it's not worth doing more unless you have the capacity for it, and that means
Until I have people working for me packing the orders, to where I don't have to worry about it, I'm not doing it. I'm like, that's too much money on the line.
I mean, Krelbit works out of a dorm room. Like Garrett, you work out of your house. I have an office, luckily, but like so many of these people are doing that potentially with less. It's not like I have a warehouse where I can stock all kinds of shit.
You just
or I have
receive
8
pallets,
people.
no problem.
Yeah, or I have 8 people that I can just say, hey, pack this stuff for me.
Yeah.
Nope.
My
Not a
delivery
chance.
drivers hate me when they have to pull an 18-wheeler through a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, they're pissed every day.
My mailman love me, dude. My mail. I don't know what you're doing
My
wrong.
day-to-day likes me, but like the people that are coming from
The
customs
freighters.
with 2 pallets,
Yeah.
they're not happy. Like, that turn was a right angle.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
I was
And
like,
that's
sorry.
another consideration is if you're in a place that's not necessarily accessible by a freight liner,
Makes it harder.
like my shipping people, the people I get my shipping stuff from, one of the questions on like the purchase page or like the checkout page is this a residential address?
Yeah.
I'm assuming because if it is, they're not going to send a semi.
They still
which is
do.
awesome. I haven't, but I also haven't ordered more than
I
like
check residential and they
boxes
bring
at
a semi every time.
They just deal with
That's
it.
fun, too.
What was
I
that?
tried to tell you.
What was that other question that you saved from earlier?
I forget who said this one, but the question was, may I ask a question from another angle? How would these guys suggest a designer choose which vendor to go with? So I guess in another question or another person, Mr. Petrov had the same question. Maybe you asked it twice. I don't know. Sorry. But yeah, so basically how would you, I guess, or how would we advise someone on who to go with as far as, if you have a key set idea or a board idea?
I mean, if it's really, really good and it's going to sell a ton, come to me.
hey,
At the same time, like,
if it's really, really good and it's gonna sell a ton, come to me.
So I think
probably won't care.
the angle I'd look at this question is like maybe this is a person who has a hit and they're already in talks with several vendors who are kind of like on board, and they all have different options or offers. How do you?
I
pick
have
between
something to
this?
tell you not to do.
Yes.
Do not get all of these vendors to help you out with all of your stuff
Yeah, and then pick one.
and string them along and then tell them that you still haven't decided.
Mm-hmm.
That has
'Cause they're
happened to
gonna
me
do-
so
yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I spent hours talking to you, gave you all these tips on how to do your interest check. helping
Yeah,
you with
talk to
colors.
definitely talk to one vendor at a time.
Yeah. And
Talk to
then
one vendor at a
3
time.
weeks later, I'm told, oh, I still hadn't made up my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing.
Make up your fucking
If you're
mind.
going to be a designer and there's going to be more than one thing you design, like you just like designing, you want to build good relations,
You can spread
right?
it out
Even if
too,
you
right?
choose different vendors for different products, you still want to build good relations. You don't want to string,
Yeah.
you don't want to waste someone's time essentially, because their time has value. It's like your time has value.
Yeah.
So however you choose it,
Yeah.
weigh the options for every vendor, but don't string them along, right? Don't be
Mine
I'd
like,
say
was-
at this point, most vendors have a good history.
Yeah. Just find a vendor that's been around for like a year.
Talking
And-
to the
I mean,
vendors
and talk to them.
is important.
Go look at their
So,
past projects, see how
I
well
have
they ran.
I've never had a bad experience with another vendor.
I have a good
I don't think
example
there
of
are
this.
bad options.
No.
With GMK Valid on Cream, Dixie, actually, I'm pretty sure I went to you first, and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah, you asked me.
here's my idea. You know, I want to run this in like August, September," and you were like, "Sorry, man, I'm already running set then."
Mhm.
Like, that's cool, no problem. So then I messaged Mike from Novel Keys. I was like, "Hey, I have this idea." You know, he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm free that month," or like, you know, we don't
Yeah.
have a slot then. That's how I decided. Just
By the way, I am overwhelmingly open. Hit me up.
but yeah, it's
Yeah.
also a matter of for that instance where you know you have maybe your first option, second option. I mean, I feel like I'm to the point where you know I'm kind of friends with buddies with enough people where you know I have the freedom to choose, which is really good. But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't. So if you don't, yeah, try to you know start with you know making some friendships. You know, even just small random talk in you know the Top Clock Discord or like the Main Keys Discord where you can.
I've
just
heard it.
kinda, like,
I've felt it's much more. It's a lot more easy to try and find like a local group first,
mhm.
because finding that
People at meetups.
local group,
I mean,
it's great.
I don't think it's even bad to talk to multiple vendors at once. Like I had a designer that literally up front, he told me, just letting you know, I'm talking to some other people, and
I
I'm
mean, at
just
least he's
laying out-
transparent
He's
about
transparent.
And I was like,
Yeah.
thank you. That tells me I
Communication
know
is
not to
key.
put in all this time
it. Mm-hmm.
because I just love doing it personally. Like I
Yeah.
love
Oh,
the
yeah,
process.
definitely.
But
So
then
I'm
like
ooh,
but
I'm
yeah,
having fun.
when you get to the point where you're wasting effort, where you could
Yeah.
spend it otherwise on stuff you know that you want to do.
Yeah, it's like I was having fun. We're doing kit layouts. We're messing with colors, and then they're like, "Oh, it may not be
Oh,
you."
I'm gonna
like,
take
"Oh,
all you
dang."
did, but I'm gonna go elsewhere.
I'm
That's
like,
not
Yeah.
cool.
crap. I was like, now I'm not even gonna see it finished. I was like, that's such a bum.
Yeah.
So I kind of now I just kind of up front. I'm now more conscious just because it's happened to me like 4 or 5 times.
Even piggybacking off of other vendors is
Mhm.
like, I feel like is
Yeah,
is fairly okay. Like even with GMK Mizu, I've hit up Rensuya like a few times. We talk now, like, you know, I'm like, he's a good guy, and I asked like, okay, hey, I'm designing this board right now, right? I'd like to be able to use some complementary colors for GMK Mizu because I really like that set, and like for a few of the units, and just list them off as like specialer ones, right? And so I hit up Hiney about that, and Hiney's like, yeah, sure, because I'm working on him with that board. And Rensu is like, hey, yeah, sure, like that's okay. And
You
like,
know what's awesome about him?
yeah,
He's one of the best designers I've worked with. One, because he's like the most passionate designer
yeah,
I've ever
he's-
worked with. But
Yeah.
every single time anyone
He hit
asks
me up
him
early
something
too, yeah.
about this project, he asks
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
Even if it doesn't have anything to do with
did he ask you
anything,
about? Did you ask
Yeah.
me? Yeah,
He asked,
awesome.
he
That
asked
just
me,
shows he
not
values your
because it's his
input.
project, but he knows I have a lot on the line.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh yeah, do it.
He messaged me
But-
real early on and was like, "Hey, could I use your HPCP models for renders for?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." Like,
God damn, I love this
'cause
community.
both sides of it, and like I didn't even really know the guy, but yeah, I talked to him a bit. I haven't really talked to him lately, but yeah, I talked to him a bit early on, and he was like, "Oh, like this is my idea." You know, he would show me the renders. Like, oh,
Mhm.
like, that's so sick. You know, if I had a suggestion, I would make it.
Yeah.
You know, if he had a question, you know, obviously I'll answer it as truthfully and honestly as I would.
Mhm.
Those are definitely the kind of people like that will value your input and not necessarily just use you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I think most people are gonna, if you ask them a question
back 'cause I have to
that
take
you
a piss.
already know the answer,
grab another beer.
Go for it, bud.
it's like
No, I'm not wearing pants.
Ren
Yeah,
knew
I'm
that,
already-
what I was gonna say. Like he knew it didn't really have anything to do with me. It was his design. He
Mhm.
said it was your keyboard.
Yeah.
He was like,
He's
Just
a
getting
good
respect.
guy. He's a good
Yes.
lad.
Good lad.
so I mean, ask
Good lad.
more, ask questions even if you already know the answer or you know they don't even need to be asked.
Mhm.
If you're working with someone, just keep them in the loop.
Yeah.
Because last thing you want to see is some random thing and you're like, what the heck?
When did that happen? Like, it's cool, but when that happened, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll go down Heine's pre-recorded questions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? Oh, Taya types worst customer experiences for each vendor. You need Heine here for that because I know he's got some pretty spicy ones.
I haven't
We
had a
can-
ton of bad ones.
We complain to each other.
I mean, yeah, I have my people that I complain to.
Yeah,
I think we all do. People
Yeah.
that we can vent to and know they're not going to go spilling it.
yeah.
I mean, I've had people threaten to sue me for not giving them a refund. That's probably the worst one I've had.
I had one
I-
guy change his address on me 6 times back and forth, and then
Oh.
he landed on the final place, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna ship this tomorrow. I'm gonna clear this with you one last time. Is this okay? No, I want a refund."
Speaking of that, that reminds me, this one's worse. So I set up this new chat, this customer service thing on my site
Yeah.
Yeah.
for like instant customer service, which it comes straight to my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm literally just sitting there watching TV and I'm responding to your customer service emails. A lot of people don't realize that it keeps the chat history from your IP.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, he
Oh.
asked me, "Can you change my address?" I said, "Sure." Or no, he said, "Can I remove a mouse pad from my order?"
Okay.
And I was like, "Okay, it's gonna be easier just to cancel your whole order, let you replace it." So I canceled his order, and then like 2 days later, "Hey, can I add a mouse pad to my order?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll cancel your order, replace a new one." He did this 4 times. And then eventually I said, "Dude, how many times are you going to change this order? I know, like, you don't realize that I know you've done this 4 times."
You're still the same guy.
What
And
I
I was
like
like,
to do. Oh, go ahead,
Oh.
Dixie. You're still talking.
No, I was just,
We're talking about our
Continue.
worst customer experiences.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were waiting
But-
for you for this one.
But what I
Yeah.
like to do, if
he was like,
people
"Ooh."
do want to change orders or add stuff, it's not too hard with Shopify to give people like a free shipping discount. So I give them a one-time use code so they can add the order, like they can order the new product and just not pay shipping on it.
And then
then
you
I say,
combine them on
Yeah,
ShipStation.
give me your original order number and give me your new order number, and I will combine them.
Not even on ShipStation. There's that little bell notification, and you can just
Yeah.
combine that.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you have 3 orders from the same address, so you can combine it. But I make sure they give me the order number
Yeah.
too, just to make sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that works pretty well. Dixie, I told you to do that. I told you to start trying.
Yeah,
to
well,
do that.
now this whole PayPal thing, I can't
Yeah.
use let me just cancel your order and you place it again.
It's
I
nice
can't
to
do that
just do the
anymore.
add-on. It's definitely nice
Yeah.
to do that because that way you
Mhm.
don't. Because ShipStation doesn't 100% necessarily sync. I think cancel.
I have so many internal
No.
notes on orders.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's
I have
easier just to
paragraphs
do
to
that
make
way.
sure I don't forget.
Okay, Heine, what's your worst customer experience?
So ePBT Slate, enjoy PBT Slate. Wasn't very well in my opinion. Obviously, you have your kind of typical ePBT problems like slightly warped keys, blah blah blah. So I had an initial kit that I had Gawk do some renders on. He did a great job, by the way.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize it, but ePBT does the row ordering different, like opposite
Reverse.
from Cherry.
Yeah.
So
The number.
row 1 Cherry, row 1 GMK is row 4 ePBT, and down the
Okay.
way.
Why?
So like DCS.
I don't know.
Yeah, like DCS. You do reverse.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, so whatever. And I realized that the kit render I had on my site was the incorrect one, but the kit render on KBD fans, like the group by page, the Imgur gallery I had on the original OP was correct. I went back through and like documented the dates I had everything done. So I just uploaded the wrong one to my page, which is my fault, obviously. Like I admitted that in Geekhack, like when this guy was like trying to, I'm not attack me, but like just be like, hey, look, like he uploaded like what I put up in case I tried to like sneakily change it, which I admire. I was like, that's cool that you did that. Like I appreciate the fact that you go to that length. Like I would do the same thing.
Accountability.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he was confused. They were confused because I removed 2 keys and then I changed them out. I think it was like a row 3 Cherry page down and a row 4 Cherry end. I swatched out for like a page up and a page down because that's what I would use when I do like 65%, for example. That's like the only use case really for these. And I was like really thorough, I feel, in my reply. Like I edited it like 4 times just to like make sure it actually made sense and like adding information. And like it was all figured out ahead of the time the buy actually ran. So it's not like I changed the buy. I thought I did, but I went back and I was like, oh no, I didn't. And the guy was just like, okay, I don't want this set anymore. I was like,
After
okay.
all of that,
I was in bed and I was like getting these messages on my phone. I was like, fuck. Like I was like, I really need to figure this out. I was up to like 3:30 in the morning. And I was like, damn it, I need to fix this. Yeah, and the set's sitting right over here on this table. But yeah, I was like, okay, like I was like, if that's what you wanted. And then he added like a little snippy comment because 2 people had the wrong profile B key, which obviously isn't my fault. It's the fault of like I guess placing the keys when you do the die stub, because I'm assuming they do like the whole base kit and then die sub all that at once. So I guess they placed the wrong profile, which I mean 2 kits out of 200. That's I can kind of see that as happening. Exactly.
Yeah.
So like 2 people had that issue. I sent out replacement B kits. I took 2 extra kits I had out of stock, so I took myself out of $250 just to have those kits, those keys to send to people. And he said like, I hope this won't be an issue for you. And I was like, all right, motherfucker. I was like, let's go. So I was like, you know,
let's
hey,
throw down.
Yeah, I was like, that's no problem. Just email me. I hope this will make you be happy. And I sent him the return slip again out, you know, $9, whatever, I'll live. But yeah, I was like, you know, just don't be an asshole. Like, I get that you're unhappy. That's fine. Like, you're allowed to be unhappy. Like, just don't be a dick about it. And if you're going to be a dick about it,
I type out what I want to say, like what I'm thinking in the moment. I type it all out and then I delete it, and then I type in the thank you for contacting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like and he, you know, as I said on Geek Hack, you know, I'd like to, you know, refund this, blah blah. And I was like, that's fine, no problem. Yeah, Krelbit's internet's dead. Rip.
Yeah.
He's just really good at saying.
He just fell asleep, like Huey did that one time on voice chat. That was great. But yeah, so Garrett's trying to do it right now too. But yeah, so I like that was probably the only bad customer experience I've had. I've tried to. Oh, now he's dead.
Rip my layout.
R.I.P.
But yeah. Oh wow. Holy fuck. Hey, it's me up here.
Let's see if
But
we
yeah,
can
like
go back.
I've tried to be as transparent as I can. Like H87A around 2 issues that were brought to me by customers. I was like, oh my god, like thank you so much for finding this. Like I did not realize this was a thing, and I issued like a not a recall but like a fix, which worked really well. Do I gotta like go up here?
Hopefully Krelbit can get back to us so I don't have to manually fix this, because that would be a pain. But I will if I have to.
I don't know if you guys can hear my cat meowing, but she's like wanting into my office, and I don't let her in my office.
Oh, Krelbit's joining on his phone. We might get Krelbit back in a moment.
Shut up, Stella. I don't care.
Any other questions from the chat? Actually, I saw one
Yeah,
of
I had-
auctions. Did you have another one?
I tossed them in. I tossed them in our chat here on Discord for the video chat.
I have.
Mr. Petrov asked. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Huey?
The one I saw from him was about I think it was one about auctions, another about profit margins.
Yeah, he had 3. Yeah, he has.
God bless Spotty Campus Internet. Hello.
Welcome back, bud.
Hello.
So his first one was the same thing. How do you going about picking a vendor to work with?
Okay.
And then, how many bits will it cost to get Dixie to acapella New Keyboard Road on the stream right now?
What about that?
We need ham, dude.
All right, third one. There's been a lot of discussion about auctions for keyboards. The corollary has been, what is an acceptable profit margin for a keyboard or keyset group buy? What are the vendors' views on this? I'll start with that one because I'm assuming this is in pretty direct reply to Zombumon's idea with Averna with 8 slots
All right.
and his
The
way
victory
he
style.
structured-
It wasn't a
Yeah,
standard
yeah.
auction.
Yep,
Let's
the way
get
he
the
structured it
algorithm
was
first.
he opened it up to bids. The top 8 bids won. Like you could buy one, and then the 9th bid was the actual cost. I'm pretty sure that's how it was. So I like the idea. I really do, honestly.
So
as
I do
someone
want to
who
add to
designs
that.
stuff.
it was only one bid per person, so you couldn't
Correct.
see anyone else's bid, so you couldn't. It wouldn't be like eBay where like, oh, someone
It was
put
kind of a
$1 up,
silent
I'm gonna
auction.
put $1 up.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much a silent
It was
auction.
yeah,
exactly.
essentially silent auction, and because it was only one bid, you couldn't see anyone else's bid, and the pricing was based on the lowest price to make the quantity. It kind of gave everyone the incentive of putting as much as they're willing or they believe the keyboard is worth. This was met with a lot of criticism, a lot of applause, a bit of everything actually.
I like the idea. Honestly, I'm considering maybe doing it in the future for certain stuff. The hard thing I think people might not necessarily realize on the designer side of it is he fronted not just 8 but more boards, we'll say, because extras, B stock, etc.
I think it was over 30 boards he fronted.
Yeah, so you buy these boards up front, and you can make a fixed profit on them, which is the typical kind of classic way to do it, or you can do it this way. I like this way because it helps mitigate the effects of flipping a lot. And when you flipping, is like, okay, so I'm gonna get on a group buy. I'm gonna pay $450 for this board, and then I'm gonna turn around and sell it 8 days after I get it for $1,200, and just make a lot of money. The designer, if that happens to me, I will be pissed because I see zero of that. And so people that do that literally get into it to,
as well
make
as
the money.
Yeah, if you sell to a flipper, that means you're not selling as someone who otherwise actually wanted the board.
Exactly. So this basically says, how much do you want this board in a monetary value? Which in most cases, I feel like, and I've talked to Zamam on it, where it basically says, I want the board this much. As Michael Scott says, I love you this much. The Christmas episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like it because the people that want the board, if you want the board, you will be willing to pay more for it.
And if you want to flip, that minimum price is going to be higher than what you'd want to pay
So
because
you
your
make
profit
less
margin
profit.
goes down.
So you're
you're-
less likely to flip because you're starting up higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see this format working for say 30 or 40 or 50 run. But for 15 or under, 20 or under, I could definitely see it working out pretty well. But yeah, and it's tough because people are like, why don't you just make more if you want to make more profit?
Why don't you just make more?
If you
That's
make
the biggest
50 boards,
fallacy.
if
Biggest
you make
fallacy.
50 boards, you have to, typically 20 to 30%, I think, is acceptable for extras that you order ahead of time, which cuts into your profit. My trash bag just moved. That was weird. 20,
Haunted.
that extra, 12 to 15 boards you have to buy cuts into your profit immediately.
Yeah.
You might be able to sell them as B stock, but you're not going to make as much money on them. And then you run the risk of flippers coming in. But okay, so we'll say 50 boards. That's example. And then you go, okay, I'll do 100 boards. Then you have to order an extra 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. You have double the orders to fulfill, double the amount of boards to sort, quality control check, all of that
Double
stuff.
the amount of risk.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You literally double your risk, triple your risk to the money you're gonna make.
And they're linear scaling rewards. They're not even
It's not logarithmic.
At least give me a curve, but
Yeah, that's why I am starting out with such a low number for this first keyboard, because until I have a production system set up that I trust and that's proven, that I know I'm going to get 300 boards, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly.
I'm not going to start out with unlimited and then 500 people order them and I'm spending freaking $500 bajillion.
So here's the thing on the flip. I'll say on the flip side of things, which is some people will say, well, this is a popular idea with creators, not for consumers, because the average person, for depending on what product it is, might end up just already paying the flip price for the board, which at least on one hand, at least all that flip money would be going to the designer, the creator, basically. But for the average consumer, they're like, well, that could hurt me because I'm paying more than I could have if I've gotten a spot in a normal way.
Yeah, but then the problem with that is, you know,
Why didn't you just get it the normal way?
Cool.
The other ways to do it are first come first serve, raffle, right? I mean, I can think of those as like two of the main other ways, you know, to run this, or you can do unlimited. But like first come first serve, very much the luck of the draw. Look at the TGR Jane V2 CE.
2 seconds, baby.
Last 2 seconds.
Even
Got
the V2, the V2, which took like 42 seconds or 41 seconds.
42 seconds, and the Alice was 47 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you have to
something like that.
Get in. Yeah, it's your internet. You know, all kinds of crap can go wrong with that. Even raffle. I mean, raffle is a little more quote unquote fair, but even then, people that really want the board versus someone who just filled it out, you know, there's no difference between them.
Right.
Basically, the way I think about it is if say I do the group by 40 boards, so 20 first come first serve, 20 raffle. Let's say I'm not doing this auction thing. It's not fair. Okay, there's going to be 40 boards. If I decide to do the auction one, there might be 10 more chances to get it that there wouldn't have been if I didn't do it otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think
splitting it up could work.
I think I'm going to do all three.
Yeah, I'm going to just say you have to order. You have to
like different phases.
Yeah, I'm going to do 3 phases. First come first serve, first, and then there'll be a raffle, and then after all the boards have been produced, I will obviously order extras for damage and that kind of stuff, and then some of those will be auctioned off that are in stock that I paid for up front that you will get the next week. I don't think the auction can work in an unlimited group buy, because then that's just like...
Real quick to people in chat, a lotto is different because a lotto is you buy a ticket to potentially win, which means even if you lose, you spent money. That's why it's gambling. A raffle, you only spend if you win. That's big difference.
There's like some kind of, if you look at it online, like what is gambling, what is a raffle versus a lottery? There's like, I think 3 things that it has to be: 1, an equal chance; 2, paid entry or free entry. That's what like a sweepstakes is a big thing. A sweepstakes is no purchase necessary. Like if you write McDonald's and say, "Hey, I want 500 Monopoly things," you know, they might send them to you. But it's the legality of it is you have to like a gambling license. Like that's not gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, doing all 3 is fair. I mean, you could say you have to pick one of the 3 types. If you don't pick,
well, actually, sorry. Garrett, would you restrict people to only choosing? You can only enter one of the 3 phases, or if you missed out phase 1, go to phase 2. If you missed out phase 2, go to phase 3.
No, definitely.
You can do it the other way around, where
because when you restrict people, that would kill the hype.
Yeah,
I think the whole point of doing all 3 is that it gives people 3 shots,
and you continuously build more hype.
And if you get round 1, you can't enter 2 or 3. I like that.
Obviously, that would make sense. If you get first come first serve, you don't get a shot at.
That's fair too.
Yep. But it gives people hope, I guess.
You guys give me an idea.
So
like,
sell them hope.
People don't like it when they're like, "I've only got 1 shot. There's no way I'm getting a number 2. There's only 20 of them." And Nathan Kim just had 47,000 people watching. I'm never gonna get it, and it was true.
Yeah.
And that was your 1 shot. Oh, and then he had the raffle. But even that, when there's only 20 of them. So what if he had done a raffle one more time? He'd have been like, "Dang, it's a 3rd try. I got 3 tries. I mean,
and you might have less of a pool of people entering.
So
because you have maybe 20 slots less. 20 less.
Your last chance, you determine whether you win it. Basically.
Yeah,
I think that do you want it badly enough to pay for it?
That 3 phase.
I am a huge proponent of laissez-faire economics. So if the market will pay it, then
honestly, look at Kepler. Sold out 50 units, 850 a piece.
If the market will pay it, then I have no qualms at what price it sells. If the market and if people want it, then they're gonna run it in some way or form. They're gonna clone it. Like if you decide not to run it again, someone's gonna do something similar.
to add in to like those three methods, friend and family slots also are typically readily available, but that's private.
I think those are
reserved to
amazing.
the
I
designer.
think friends and family slots are
That's
great.
reserved to designer. Like
Yeah.
I think
I've
it
worked out
actually
deals
helps
for
because
trade
a lot
a-
of people are like, if there's only 20 boards, 5 of those boards are Dixie's friends, so there's even less of a chance.
No,
If
feel
I
like,
come out and
look,
I'm like, those are
they're
completely
separate.
separate, you actually have a better chance if all the
Yeah.
people I know are getting them separate.
And I've even like tried to scope
As
out people
from
because-
a customer service standpoint, I think friends and family slots are like so justified. Like if there's a shot, or like if there's a guaranteed chance that the person that gets this will not, complain as much, or is more understanding of my circumstances, or like puts up with my dirty memes, like on
Real
on
dirty.
they're pretty dirty, but like that puts up with my crap, I guess, and like knows how I work, and like can openly communicate with me in a calm and like respectful manner.
Or if they do
I would
flip-
take that person any day, compared to even if I had like that same kind of person in my group buy, right? There's a chance that I could get, someone that's just not like the keyboard Karen, like Karen took the kids. Karen.
You can even work out really cool deals with FNF where it's like, Dixie, hey, you want to trade a Bauer for an HBCP, that kind of thing. Hey, I see you, someone's doing a private group buy. You want to
And,
trade a board one?
Yeah, someone brought up in chat, F and F also is less chance of flip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think-
or
Well,
you
no.
get the flip,
Well,
you get the
I mean, it
flip
depends on
fee.
the situation, Carlin. It depends on the situation.
Two
I
of
mean,
them have been flipped already. If
Yeah.
you're
Friends and
keeping up.
family is where these people are going to appreciate what
Yeah.
you've done.
The
Mhm.
people
They're
that
there,
have
they're
like followed it
supporting
from the
you.
beginning.
Like
It's not
meme.
some random
Meme was
person
like a long shot in the dark. Like everyone basically was like, okay, I'm throwing my money at you. I hope you can do something really cool with it. Like these are all untested. Like this badge is untested. This daughter board is untested. These gaskets are untested.
Yeah.
Like it is.
That's another good example of doing too much at once. But yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. I am a you're a you. Yeah. If you flip a friend and family board, for me at least, like when I do my Google form for friend and family stuff that I will do, I'm going to put at the top, if you flip this, if you are not on my list of people that I'm sending this to, I will not permit you to buy another one of my boards in the future.
I just charge
That
people a
simple.
flip fee with meme
Yeah. But that's hard to enforce because someone
in
can
a
be
private buy. In a private buy.
Oh,
That was a
but
private
even
buy, though,
then,
so it's always different.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like that's a trusted person. But if it's a person that you might be buddies with, but you're not best friends with, it could be a matter of they actually sold it for $2,000, but what if they told you they sold it for $1,200?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, you
at least
can
I'll get a cut of that 1,200.
You
Private
can
for me is people I
absolutely
really know.
you can
I'm not much of an
absolutely
acquaintance thing because
Yeah.
like if it's a
I
guy
have
that I talk
addresses.
to
We're
a lot
vendors.
that
We
week,
have addresses.
But-
Nah, maybe
I just
we'll see.
going back to the auction thing. I think that doing all three, that third spot means if you missed out on rounds 1 and 2, the 2 chances to get it, your third chance is kind of like if you really really want it, you can make it happen. So that's how I think about it. And
I was gonna
Riot
do
did something-
successive rounds of first come first serve. So
Yeah.
the first round has 1, the second round,
Mhm.
the third round has 3, up until 25 are gone. Yeah.
Riot said something that hit home with me that really made me say I want to participate in this. And he was like, it hurts me that some guy who flips my board makes more profit on his flip than I made selling 25 of these and fronting the cash for them up front.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah,
He's like,
like I
"There's
said,
that
not right."
sucks.
He's like, I dropped tens of thousands of dollars for this, and that guy made more money in 1 hour.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I was like, that is not right.
people like cases do not make a lot of profit. You can maybe design it to, or you can maybe sell a product that's cheap enough to make a lot of money, or you can make the price really high. But none of those are conducive, I think, to what the true spirit of community vendorship is, which is getting people that want your product, that you want yourself,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you can be completely profit driven and just not necessarily rip people off, but not care about the product itself, and that has its flaws, obviously.
I think
Like
you can
if
spot those
every
products
vendor
pretty
was
easy.
like if every vendor was like financially covered, you know, like fine, and they could do a group buy with, you know, little to no profit. I bet a few of them, like, or like even like at like half of them would probably run it, you know, just because they want to put out a board that they want themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's where they all start.
yeah, like you want that board for yourself. Like the next board me and Heine are making, it's the magic. It's a
I
Magic
don't
Force.
necessarily want it, but you
Yeah,
want it.
but
It's cool.
I want it. It's the
And I like
Magic
it
Force
because I like
68. It's a Magic Force 68 layout. Now, no one likes this layout that much, but it's one of my favorite. It's what I started on. That's where that passion comes from. You know.
That's like me, HPCP. I have mine right here. I was just cuddling it on stream.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could stop now and be like, "Sorry guys, I have mine. I don't care." But
Mhm.
at this point, so many people want them, and I want to make mine better. Where it's gonna like I should have the polycarb one next week, hopefully, maybe the week after. Like I'm just trying to just be a little crazy because I'm to the point, I guess, where I can do that.
Yeah.
If I want a one-off board, I'll make a one-off board. But if I want a board that I want other people to do, because at the end of the day, I mean, I think the kind of the goal for this is
I just want to share. You know, like
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, like you pay up front for your cost for your proto board. You know, it's obviously typically maybe double what like the actual group buy board cost is.
definitely.
I mean, you basically cover yourself with your prototype from that. Or a lot of time when you run a group buy through a reputable factory, they will kind of refund you the prototype cost from the final actual cost. But that's hit or miss. That's like a very much like your results may vary kind of thing.
I mean, with Bauer, the first round will basically break me even from all the startup costs.
Mm-hmm. Because there's so much prototyping involved.
It would have been cheaper for me just to buy one.
Yeah.
For myself.
Yeah.
Done with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're thousands negative right now starting. So it's like round one is just to get me back to even.
Back
the
to
expert
square
flex
zero.
The expert flex is great with just having a 101 board, but at the same time,
I don't care about flex.
Yeah, so many people end up believing in you and believing in the project itself. Like I have, people I don't really even talk to that are just like PM me or message me or reply on the Geek Hack topic. They're like, dude, I'm so excited for HPCP. I can't wait. Like those are the kind of people I want to hit my board.
I mean, that's why I do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a designer. I was in a different aspect. I just do it because I love doing it. And why would I only make one? I mean, I love to see people experience what I experience. I'm like, I did that. I gave someone something that made them happy, and I'm going to keep doing it. I mean, because that's the gift that I have, and I can give that to everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Nebulant had a question for everyone here. What do you do if you hate the flip, but want to sell something that has increased massively in price to get something new?
What does that mean? As far as
you want to sell something,
if you have,
but the market price has gone up, and the conflict of the internal conflict of market price versus you believing the market price is a flip price.
I have no conscience. I'll flip that thing.
There's a difference between having something sit on a shelf for 3 months or 6 months or a year or 2 years and then selling it versus you using something, enjoying it,
definitely
respecting it, and then deciding yourself, okay, I don't really think I need this anymore, or I don't use this as much as I would like to, so keeping around.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And I think if your motivation to sell it is the day that you see how much you can get for it. So you're like, ooh, I just saw a mech market post. That thing's selling for a lot. I was never planning on selling that thing. But now I will. If you're like, oh, I don't use it anymore, let me go see what they've been selling for.
Exactly, yeah.
Then I don't think it's a big deal. And I also think there's a huge difference when someone offers you money and you shopping it around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So I think even if you win a very exclusive board that you planned on keeping, if the second you win it, you go shopping it around, okay, that's...
And I've seen people doing that in like Discord channels.
Yeah. I haven't been part of the artisan world for a very long time.
Make this community
but
Thanks for all you do.
Every summer, a particular event happens. I'm sure you're all aware, even if you're not in Artisans.
It's very toxic.
Yes.
Quite toxic.
Eat the foods, nightcaps, poison summer.
And it's funny because now, like, the community's kind of like trying to regulate it a little bit.
This happens
like,
every single day
like,
during
there was
poison
some mech
summer.
market posts like last week though. Like, I forget what it was, but people were like, "Are you really trying to like sell that already, or like, are you really trying to charge that price for it?" That kind of thing.
Well, there's a Modern Dolch one that they had 3 sets. They had all 3 listed for 300.
Thankfully,
weren't
no
even
one's
shipping
flipping
them in
lube
crates.
yet.
They were shipping them in bags, and then you had to pay even more to get it with the tray.
That's so much
There
labor
was-
though. Like, just
There were
imagine
other
you have a
there were
tray
other
and a
controversial
bag.
aspects of their post besides the price.
Mhm.
But I literally
money
commented
grabbing.
it, and
It's
I was
fun.
like, "I'll buy all 3 of them for 140, and just give you a refund."
Yeah, honestly,
That's what I
because
responded.
I don't want that kind of person buying my shit. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean,
That's
as you guys all
that's fair.
saw, you know, a few weeks ago, Mike saw the same thing for a SA Olivia, which hadn't even shipped, and he just
Mhm.
put down that hammer.
and it's so easy when it's that kind of thing. When it is a private, you know, or like, you know, like the handful of people that have, you can pinpoint who the hell it is and say, "Hey, sorry." Like that, like I said, like that's my plan.
I
Someone's
think,
trying
yeah,
to-
selling a spot. Oh, you
Flipping
you
a
know,
spot
Flipping
is
a
different
spot
than an
is crazy.
actual item.
it is so
Someone
stupid.
posted on the Jane V2 CE thread, "Hey, I want to sell my spot. You know, blah blah blah. You know, 1,200." It's like, why don't you just sell it on? You know, sell your spot on for what you paid for it and get your money back.
Yeah. I don't know if this is unpopular opinion, but I think selling for an increased markup and in a completely unlimited group buy
That's
is not as bad as joining a very limited group buy,
definitely.
because technically the person you're
kind of an
selling
honor
that
of having
Modern
this
Dolch set to could have joined the group buy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It wasn't like there's 20 spots and you're joining it just to screw everyone over, to force them to pay you. That's the only way to get it.
You are
Yeah.
right. Yeah, as many people could
So-
have joined Modern Dolch as possible.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I do see where people are like, they don't get into the hobby when the group buy's running, or
Yeah.
they don't
That's
have.
why I
the
said it's
funding.
not necessarily not bad.
Yeah, but there are certain instances where you could see it happening.
I mean,
But even then, I don't know.
it's one thing I always tell like newer people who join, like you could like, because I always talk to new people who join the hobby and they're like, oh, I wish I joined earlier because I missed out on like this one really cool set that joined that I can't really get that often. I'm like, trust me, there's never too early of a time to join this hobby. You will always
Honestly,
always have missed out on something.
joining-
That's
There's
okay.
always
Joining
now is a great
earlier?
time.
Dude, you know what I'm sad about? I missed Hapsters in fucking 2015, right?
Yeah.
That's
I've been buying like GMK like Dolch sets left and right, and like Grissian and stuff like that.
and now they're selling for like $15. It's a DCS cap. It's a
$2, dude. Oh.
dude, they're like $15.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm
it scales though with everything.
I'm trying to get to the point now that I'm growing to a point where I can actually save money in the business
Mm-hmm.
and not just break even to live.
Yeah.
To try to buy as many extras as I can responsibly
Exactly, yeah.
buy.
And you as a vendor will sell. I mean, on extras. I mean, at least for me, it's like, you know, $10 per
Yeah.
set, which isn't bad really, but it's also typically the cheapest option you can get
Yeah.
versus paying $300 on Mech Market.
Yeah, it's like Modern Dolch, because I was getting married, I dumped all my money into marriage and house. I couldn't get as many as I would want. Like, I wish I could have got 3 times as many.
But it opens up, the window
life,
for
man.
round
That's
2
life.
down the road.
Yeah, and that's why,
You
like,
know?
everyone's going to be really pissed the day that launches and it's gone in 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But like
even
minimal, I bought 150. So minimal, you're not going to
That's
have to
something you'll be able
be
to stock for a bit.
waking up and sitting there waiting on it,
Mhm.
and you can't get it.
Yeah.
And I would eventually like to get to where people, if they are like, "Ooh, I liked that person's set on Reddit," they can just go buy it.
Oh yeah.
They don't have to track it down and pay all this money.
That's
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
goal, but geez, that's a lot
It
of
takes
like
a lot of work.
that's a
You
lot of
basically have to
work.
start with just slowly buying extras.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
each group buy I
Because
do,
as you gain your capital, you
Yep.
obviously.
I'm in a different position that I gain money through vendor activities. Just my day to day.
Yeah, this
My-
it's
is
always a risk too. when people
Yeah.
are upset about,
Do you think you'll actually sell a 150?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
when people are upset that stock sets sell for more than group buy. It's like,
What?
I don't think you realize how much money I just dropped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On
You
that.
basically take all of your profit,
Yeah.
most of your profit probably. I mean, for Slate,
Yeah.
it's the same deal. For H87As, it's the same deal. You take so much of your profit cut out or just extras that, yeah, you'll probably end up selling, but you won't see that money. It trickles in. It's not like you get all of it at once like you do with a group buy.
It's
So-
like Modern Dolch. I thought I would have Modern Dolch in December.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was going to have my investment recouped by the end of January. And it comes April, and I still don't even have the group buy sets. And it come and Mizu just happened to land that I'm not going to compete with myself. So I put this money in last September, thousands. I still don't have any of that back. So it's like, you never know.
It's
a
also
delay.
like you recycle it back into buy
Yeah.
and more runs and stuff
So
too.
you actually have a interesting proposition for you to consider when you have much more capital to buy a lot more extra sets. Because like I said earlier, there's never like an early enough time for anyone to join a hobby. But what if like every time you ran a set, you would set aside 10 extras to be sold exactly a year later as like a time capsule sale?
That'd be cool.
That is a cool idea.
While it's a cool idea, 10 sets.
I mean, that's just an example number.
That's a
but
lot
you
of
would-
money.
That's true. But when you have more capital,
Yeah,
it's
that's
hopefully
like-
easier.
That's
I mean-
money that can go into the next group buy.
Yeah.
Like right away.
And
I
what's
mean,
the-
it might be cool to
year or
do
2
one
years?
set of every set you run in a year.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you're like, here's the 2019 capsule. One of each one is up for
And
grabs.
then you could run that with victory
$7,000 each. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No one wants to buy it.
All of them are
Hey.
going to be signed, so you're
Yeah.
getting that
Yeah,
value.
I'll sign the plastic that you'll
I'll
just
sign
rip off
every
when you get it.
keycap. Sign every keycap. But yeah, it's like I mean, but it also opens up the window for like around 2, a
Yeah.
year down the line, 2 years down the line.
We lose Krelbit again?
I have a feeling this is gonna be happening.
But,
I don't know. Internet's getting spotty towards the end of the school year.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, the demand is obviously there, and then you can, run around 2 with slight differences and things learned, whatever. But even then, I mean, that drives up the aftermarket value because people see the group buy starting. Oh, I don't want to wait 4 months.
Yep.
I'm going to pay a lot for the last
So I
run
can
that I
get
can
it now.
get right now. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Although-
My money just comes from selling lube. So that's just a thing that's a thing that happens, right?
And
Um,
this is
I don't-
secondary to
find-
me. Like this.
I
Is
try not
my
to-
main job.
I try not to profit that much off of group buys because I
helps.
know I know it definitely helps, but that's like the capital for the group buys comes from my day to day,
Mhm.
which is I'm okay with that, even though it's a bit slower than like having the rush of group buy stuff come in every day. Like I've slowly been building and building and building, and currently I have enough to fund my next group buy. Just straight off the bat, first come first serve, run the whole thing in stock, and because I don't, while I do enjoy the group buy model, it is a lot of pressure, and I'd rather just shrug that off. So if I can buy myself out of stock and just shrug that responsibility off entirely, I'm gonna try that.
I always try to
yeah.
find new ways to
Position.
sell stuff. Fresh,
Mhm.
new ways to do it.
If you get caught in your old way, you're gonna suffer.
Yeah.
There was a day that when I moved in, that I found 2 random Violent Tendencies sets that had fallen into the wrong box or something,
Mhm.
like 6 months after the group buy.
I mean, I just moved out and I found 2 kilos
Yeah.
of 3203 in
And
the
then,
corner.
That's like the funnest day ever when you get to post and say, 2 of y'all are going to get this at a regular
All
price.
right, 2 of y'all are gonna get 2
And people were
kilos.
screaming
I have
for it,
like, I just have,
right?
So those are the vendor equivalent
Which
of
is
like
kinda
finding
what your
$20
idea
in
would
your
be.
pocket.
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
I mean, the margin you make is only $20. I'm just kidding.
I mean, these are all prototypes, extras. just different variations of PCBs. I think there's a meat plate in here. There's a
I've got a stack of meme PCBs that I keep just for posterity. You know,
This is where my
the yellow
profits
ones.
Go. This is where a
Mhm.
lot of my profits go.
Definitely.
Testing things out,
Hey.
trying things.
Profits go into R&D, which is important for future
do.
projects.
And honestly, I do this all as a hobby. Like, I have a full-time job where I make money from. Like, I do this to fund the hobby. Like, if I can buy a $600 keyboard, I might have the money to do that. I don't need to spend my real money to do it. I could spend my keyboard money to do it. You know.
Yeah.
And that's why I do this. I mean,
I'm.
I've been able to pay off, debt and stuff like that here and there, but like it's, this is not my main source of income, which is different, obviously, than a lot of vendors. Dixie, as far as I know, you do this mostly full time.
Yeah, I'm actually full time now. As
Yeah.
of 2 months ago.
I'm trying. I want to get there
You're
someday.
gonna get there, Krelbit.
Krelbit's a
Which
student.
is crazy. Like,
I mean, I'm doing this as a hobby, which is why I do it on nights and weekends. That's
Mhm.
why I stay up till 1:32 in the morning doing and stuff, because I don't do it during the day. I can't do it during the day. Hey, it's a webcam.
Hey.
I can't do it during the day.
When the
Mike
night
would talk about that
reconnects,
on-
Which is
SMH my head,
which is
dude.
why my stuff might take a little longer. Or that's why I do things one at a time, because I don't want to have to be like, oh, sorry, I'm sick today. I have to pack, PCBs, like stuff like that. Like, I don't want to make this a full-time gig because it is a hobby. It's fun. I enjoy it.
I think it's good
Not
to
just
already
for the
know
week.
that up front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Like, I
it'd
was
be
the
great.
opposite, where I didn't like my job.
I
knew I was
just
gonna be
can't see
moving.
I just can't see myself doing much else. Like
Like, I just
I
pushed myself.
no, it's not that I'm like hopeless or anything, you know.
You made
It's
it
just
sound
that
so bad, though.
it's just that when I started, I definitely just I fell in love with it, up to the point where like, oh, if I had another job, I feel like that would just crush my soul.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
I
like-
mean, there's definitely a balance between it all. Like, my boss knows I do this. Like, he thinks it's cool because during my day-to-day job, I don't really do too much design kind of work. But here, I have full creative license to do whatever the fuck I want, which is a
Mhm.
lot of fun. I can say fuck right here. I'm like 4 beers in. Okay, good. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, like,
definitely
yeah,
got
it's.
I got that entrepreneurial bug
Mhm.
Yeah, me
And
too.
as you grow,
never
it just
thought I
kind of
would
builds on
in my
itself.
life that I would be a businessman with my own business. Like,
Self-made
never did
businessman.
Yeah.
It never even was a blip on my mind that would ever happen. And if it did happen, it was gonna be like a design firm,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like
Working
fell into my
for-
lap
yeah.
on accident. And
Yeah.
I don't know how the
It's
heck I'm
fun.
even
Like,
here. Besides
mean-
just working hard and a lot of nice people buying stuff.
And it gets bigger and bigger, honestly. Every group buy you do, like you said, Mizu's hit beyond 9,009. Like, I've hit my second H37A run was 3 times as many as I sold as the first one.
I think it's if people can tell you care, and you just caring, period, means you're gonna do better work. I mean, I think
I've
most
gotten to
people
the
look
point
at-
where I used to be currently I think I'm about 60% of the loop market. Right.
Yeah.
So that's majority share, but I used to be around 80 because just nobody looped.
You gotta get that. You gotta get that.
Nope.
C Haristo.
Yeah, nobody looped.
Or
So-
you gotta get that grainy ass shit from China that says it's emitters.
I actually threw it. I threw that stuff out. Sorry,
we
there's
have
no.
a unique market where it's all of the people that are technically competing with each other
But everyone helps each
are
other, build
friends with
up.
each other.
Yeah, no, like
People
So-
Mike.
that are
Mike
good
from
people
Novel
to
Keys
work with
sells
are
Crystal
awesome.
Lube. He was one of the first vendor friends I made in this community.
Mike's such a good dude too.
It's like
yeah.
me and Mike work together on every group buy.
Dixie, I'm pretty
Like-
sure I talked to you most about like Shopify, ShipStation.
Yeah, like
How can I make
I
my
ask
stuff
questions
better,
to people
you know?
every day. Like,
I
how the heck
just-
do I do this on Spotify?
Yeah, Spotify.
Or-
Dude, we do that all the time. We do that.
It's funny
My
because
age
it's like
is showing.
you can tell who I guess like the community minded vendors are based on who works with each other on
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
and you're not going to see it, as a public facing entity, but behind the scenes, there's so much that going on between certain vendors. I'm not going to lie, which makes it a lot really worthwhile, I think.
Even during the meme group buy, we reached out to Ride on the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
We reached
Yeah,
out
he
to
was
Rock.
like, "Yeah, dude, let me help you out."
Yeah, we reached out to Rama. We reached out to J-Chan. Rip Keyclack.
Yep.
Kind of.
Yep.
Kind of.
I mean, I don't think anybody would be where
And
they are
that
right now.
that web
weren't
of
for that.
communication was
hmm
super. Like
Everything I've learned
it was the
is-
best part of that group buy. Just like aside from the salvaging part, right? That was fun too, and the
It
learning
gives everybody a
experiences.
sense
But
of security when you know you have people. You're not all by yourself.
yeah,
I love messaging like other vendors. Like, hey, don't make the same mistake I just did because I ate money on it.
mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah.
done that
Yeah.
with both of you guys, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
I
it's
mean, yeah, I love it. I just because I guess I like doing it. So I love talking to people, and then being like, "Did this happen to you?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, yes." And like, oh, then you can relate. And you have
Those
somebody-
common gripes, yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I just like it, and
Yeah.
the more I like it, the better I get at it.
I think it's pretty widespread in this hobby, like the amount of collaboration and help vendors give each other. I know even among like the content creators like myself, Top Clack, Nathan Kim, we all talk with each other quite often. I mean,
Am I a
Everyone wants
content
to better their
creator yet?
products.
Am I a content creator
you're
now?
definitely a content creator. I
Lessons
mean,
learned.
you hop on
Yeah.
people's
Both
streams. We
parties.
show your stuff. You show our stuff. I mean, like we all help each other. We all show each other. I've interviewed Nathan Kim for my channel. He has people on his show all the time, vendors and other content creators. Top Clack's the same. I've been talking to
Yeah, me
a
too.
few other newer content creators who've popped up on the scene and like.
And they're asking you guys for advice. You're not like, oh, fuck off. You're gonna ruin my market share. It's more like, I will help you get to my level, and it will help you get better at this.
especially with a content creation, because the more everybody in the content creation space has the chance to influence someone new right off the bat.
Yeah.
So obviously you want to help your competition here, because the more you help your competition here, the more people come into the community overall, and that's just a good thing.
I remember there's a new content creator. I like him quite a bit. He's a nice guy. His name is New Keyboards, NU Keyboards on YouTube. And he came to me. He's like, "Hey, I just released a review. Could you just give me feedback on the review?" I was like streaming when he messaged me. I'm like, "Can I do this on stream?" He's like, "Heck yeah!" So I watched the video on stream with people, and I went through like, "Hey, this part was good. This part needed to work." He got a big boost of subs from that, which is nice. But like, he really, really appreciated, and I really appreciated his willingness to like reach out to me for like help. And I've asked him for some help for my stuff too, for my content, because he does great work. So there's a lot of cool people out there, both in vendor. Like, so if you're a starting vendor or you're thinking about like, hey, I want to get into selling this kind of keyboard product because this keyboard needs it. Which there are a lot of new vendors out there for like cables, 3D printed goods and whatnot. Talk to the other vendors. Honestly, the worst they can say is no, but realistically, they all help each other for the most part, which is amazing.
And I
That
think
being
you can tell
said-
that people
you go
like to
first.
learn.
Mhm.
So people
Mhm.
that you can tell are good at something and love doing it. If someone is not willing to learn and improve, they probably aren't going to be one of the
Yeah, you're
top
gonna have someone
yeah.
they're
doing
doing.
low effort stuff, and it's
Yeah.
gonna
So
be
anybody
very
that's at the
evident.
top of what they're doing is probably also asked the same questions to someone at some point. So they're probably going to answer your questions. I know I will, because I can
That
immediately tell
being
someone, "Don't do
said,
this."
It's always better to
do
learn from
do
others.
any of you know any artists that would be willing to work in two-tone? Because I am looking for some artists to do some silkscreen
Ugh,
work.
you're gonna drive me fucking nuts. With
I
that.
love silkscreen PCB work. It is awesome. I think
It's such a pain in the ass with Altium.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I can make it done. I can make it done. I literally just have to import it to a custom font, install the custom font, and then
Drawing Naruto does not count, Mr. Droke.
dude, Naruto is like my favorite anime.
God.
Besides King of the Hill.
Besides Pokemon.
Besides Toy Story 3.
Pokemon, dude. Pokemon's so sick.
Pokemans.
I'm
Pokemon.
going to Anime Expo. I don't know
Same.
anything about anime.
I will guide you.
Thank you. Actually, are you? Am I sure? Am I sure I want you to guide me? We're gonna end up.
Mhm.
You know, a weird waifu mosh pit.
Well, we are approaching 3 hours. Wow, time flies. Let's start
Whoa.
wrapping things up.
Internet crashed only twice.
I know, right? So, if you guys haven't, please check out the sites of all of the vendors here, right? Krelbit, you just recently had a small restock of lube, which is probably running low by now.
Let me check.
While he
I don't have any
checks,
stickers. I gave them all away.
while he checks, Hineybush.cc, you got some join in on some H87As because
Dude, I should have done this at the beginning of the stream. This would have been the best advertising.
This is what I have.
We're down to 43 3 mil
Flowers.
jars of 3204.
That's sick, Dixie. I need to buy more.
Started with 100 today.
Of course,
Last
don't
beer of the
forget to
night.
check out Dixie Mech as well. Which
Wait, y'all got stickers? I have.
you're missing out, man.
Yeah, I know.
Here.
They're a
I'll
little
just
expensive, but
I'll just glue this keycap to my head
Sticker
and
Mule runs the Talisman Solutions. PM me your address. I'll mail you some. You got Sticker Mule runs the promos. I mean, these are bigger. I should have got like the tall. These are 2-inch tall. These are
Yeah. But let's see.
Space bars and
I'm on Twitch. Subscribe to me on Twitch. You get the Radster emote. It's rad.
I need to start spending more money on Twitch. God damn.
Yeah.
I'm about to do
I streamed a couple times the past couple weeks.
I just picked up a G7 and a cam link.
nice.
So
Should have bought my
maybe
old
some-
G7. Don't forget to
brother.
I'm gonna
I got a
have
pretty good
to do a cross shill. I have a Dixie Mech affiliate code. If you guys want to
Oh yeah.
check out some awesome products.
Do you want a Switchmod affiliate code?
Yes, I would.
Hell yeah, bro.
Okay.
Slide into my DMs, boy.
I'll slide in nice and lubed into your DMs. But yeah, check out all these awesome content creators, and these vendors in general are amazing people.
And I do stream every once in a while. I mean, I
Tiny
don't have
streams every now and then. Krelbit
I'm
is
doing it tomorrow.
Everyone streams, dude.
Yeah,
I stream
I'm streaming my Kepler diagnosis fix / I will make it work stream tomorrow.
So
night.
since all you guys stream, right? Like you just stream when you're doing like your normal stuff, right?
I've been streaming just packing orders and just
Yeah, right. Me too. Me
Not so
too.
much.
And people just drop in and we talk, and it's
It makes
It's
the
great.
order
I
time
get-
go by
it's
faster.
too much
it's
of
it's
this,
yeah. It makes it
like-
so much less monotonous. I started lubing again, like recently, but not like for sale. No,
For yourself,
no,
personal.
no. But when I do it with Twitch chat, the time just flies, and like
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And people come in, they ask questions, and we just vibe and chill. And it's
now that I have this real
yeah.
sick camera mount that I can probably make more of.
Oh, the wood,
Heck
the 2x4s,
yeah.
the 2x4s. Hey,
No,
No, these are 2x1s.
Heine actually messaged me because people collaborate in this community. He's like, "Hey, where'd you get your stand thing?" I'm like, "Heine, you can build stuff. Just build it." I told him just to build
no,
it.
No, you
So-
didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I was like, "You should build it," because I told you like mine's overpriced, it's expensive.
Yeah, I was like, dude, Amazon wants like $60 for this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna become a streamer. I'm just gonna close down.
Last
Yeah,
two
be my
messages. Last two messages I have is one, don't forget to subscribe to all my stuff and join my Discord. Link down below. Hashtag self-shilling. Time to plug all the man of interest stuff. You know how it is. And second thing, if you guys do join my Discord, I do ask one big request from everyone. What kind of roundtable would you like to see next? A content creator roundtable or a keycap set designer roundtable? Or
Have
a
to be in a second round table. No, just
or
kidding.
a
It's
or a
technically square.
yeah. I was thinking of like putting a
Get a
keycap in the middle because keycap.
Get a custom overlay and put us in
Yeah.
Yeah, put it like an actual table with
put
a
an
sitting
actual
around.
circle. Yeah.
Let me know what kind of roundtable you want to see next. Follow everyone on Twitch. Follow everyone on all of their wonderful stuff. Instagram, their Discord servers, everything.
Someone just asked where my VODs are.
Everything.
My VODs are on YouTube. You can see such classic hits as Man Eats Lube Toast. And
Follow me on SoundCloud. I'm the newest keyboard musical artist.
God. Can we play new keyboard road
First of my
to
name.
roll us out?
What a time to be alive. Well, thank you to you three for spending your time tonight on this stream and talking
Yeah.
about all sorts of cool things and cool stories and
pleasure.
cool experiences. Hope everyone enjoyed.
It was fun.
And until next time, everyone, the cool board starts again on Wednesday. So that's a thing that happens. I do. And
Buy lube, please.
buy Lou.
Buy OG Space Keys.
Join GMK Mizu.
Yes,
Get an
please.
H87A to put.
Please
your-
consider.
That
Please
reminds me.
consider
I was gonna
GMK.
say earlier, I was like, I reach out to other vendors if they want to buy extras of shit I'm selling.
Oh yeah,
Because-
definitely.
Yeah. It
I
helps
bought
with-
30 H87As and I have 5 left.
Buy them.
Probably get rid of. I should probably list those
Are you still?
on side.
Yeah. Weren't you gonna do discount on them?
Well, I was gonna. Well, yeah,
Actually,
but then
buy my
the boys started DMing me about the extras, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put the extras on hold on site until the boys can get theirs, because the boys have been
boys.
there. The boys.
Dude,
So
that's
if you know you're a boy, you can send me a DM. I know who you are. You know who you are.
about the DM.
The knowledge is known.
Yeah, you're gonna DM me for your own PCB.
Well,
Dude, I need more. People are like, where the I gotta sell 'em.
thank you everyone in chat who is watching as well. I think this is like record viewers for me, which it's not much,
Hey.
but for me it counts. I'll take it. I
That's
think.
good.
Come back
yeah.
That means
anytime.
a lot.
My
Yes.
record viewer, I peaked yesterday when I ate lube toast. I
I
had
think I
like
peaked
80.
at 21.
I had like 80 viewers, just 80 people
Heck
watching me
Yeah.
lube up toast and eat it.
So thank you everyone so much. I'll see you guys on the next stream, and for the U3, we'll all keep in touch because that's how we roll.
All right.
Never
Until
mind.
next time,
Yeah.
everyone. Peace.
Peace.
Well, Tad.
See ya.
Bye.